the security at the base look like when you guys got there? Was there any incoming alarms? Was there any? I think they're called the C-rams, right? Is that what that is? Uh,
Yeah, yeah. The C Rams were the basically the Gatling guns that would try and shoot them down as they would come in, or
hmm.
they had satellites that would detect them coming in. That honestly, there was nothing of that.
Whoa.
There was we had. I mean, for the first, I would say for the entire first deployment, we didn't have any of that. Um, the only way to really tell is if you would have to be very quiet and you'd hear a boom, like
Oh,
off in the
really?
distance, and then you knew something was coming.
Huh. Wow. So was it mostly
Um,
mortars that they were
no,
hitting you guys
it was
with?
rockets
Yeah.
because if they were shooting
Back to VetterView, episode 24 now. I'm here with my buddy Keith Bates. Bates, what's up, dude? Thanks for coming on. I
mortar,
appreciate it.
what's up, brother? Thanks for having me.
Of
I just
course. My pleasure.
been watching your stuff, and I just want to be a part.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, like I said, it's an honor to have you, and you reached out earlier when I was starting out, and we officially finally got it down to where we got you on the podcast. Um, so yeah, man, tell the people where you're from and you know what time you served, all that good stuff.
So I'm originally from a small town, Litchfield, Illinois. It's really close to St. Louis. Born and raised there. Uh, I joined the Marine Corps in 2013. Finished active duty in 2017, and then I actually that same year in 2017 I picked up in and I went into the reserves
Oh no shit.
for about 6 months.
How was
Yeah, so
that, dude? So you went from active duty. You went from after you went into the reserves afterwards.
yeah,
No
I did that
shit.
for about 6 months because you can do what's called no contract, no obligation, where you just they do some paperwork and you just show up to, they put you in the reserve unit if they have room, and
Mm-hmm.
you can just quit at any time. Like, yeah,
Really?
I'm not gonna show up next weekend. I'm done. Yeah,
Really? So you held
yeah.
that up for 6 months. What? How different is that from like just a regular reserve unit? Cause what regular reserves unit show up twice a month or something like that? Twice a month, we'll
Yeah,
say.
they show up once a month. I mean, it is the same as it is a regular reserve unit.
Oh, gotcha.
So all the guys there were actually reservists. So if they have slots open within the unit, you can fill one of those slots as a no contract, no obligation.
Hmm.
All the other guys there are on contract.
And how does that pay sort of work? Do they cut your pay? Is it the same pay that you would get, or how does everything work with that?
It's the same. It's the same pay as what the reservists get.
Oh, okay.
So I think at that time I was a sergeant. Yeah, I was a sergeant, and I was making like $250 a month.
Hmm. It's
I
nice
mean,
for something on the side for sure. Um,
yeah.
what were you looking after, or what were you looking for when you decided to go the reserve route afterwards? Like, was it just kind of like that sort of environment again, a little bit of it to where it's not so much?
To be 100% honest with you, I was actually it. A lot of it was that environment. I wanted the camaraderie in the Marine Corps again.
Yeah,
That was about 50% of it, and
yeah.
the other 50% is I was actually about ready to go back active duty.
No shit.
Yes, I had been out for about 6 months, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, dude, like
Fuck
the
this.
civilian world sucks. Uh, I'm gonna put it in a reenlistment pack.
Yeah. Um. Fuck. I had a question. So what's funny about that is when I got out, I didn't almost reenlist in the Marine Corps, but I talked to an Army recruiter. I was almost one of those guys.
Dude.
Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. Um, and I was like, I might I'll go see what's up. I'll go see what options. And I talked to them,
Mhm.
but fucking how recruiters are. When you go talk to them, they don't fucking leave you alone. They just start
Yes.
blowing up your phone constantly, 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 constantly. Like, hey, hey, hey. And I think they probably have some sort of training, right? Training where they, if they get contacted, they probably tell them you have a window of interest about this long. So you probably want to
Yeah.
contact them as much as you can, or else they're going to lose interest and forget. But I feel like that can also work negatively where it could be too
You're just
much.
getting bothered too much.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
you're
you
just like, dude,
block
I'm
their
fucking
number.
working. I'm fucking doing this. I'm doing that. Like, and I think that's also why it's harder for them to go for older individuals when getting new recruits for the Marine Corps, because people are working at the time. People are already fucking doing things. And the last thing they want to do after a long day of work is go listen to a recruiter or something like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you said you were in there for 6 months, right? What made you
Yeah.
fucking decide not wanting to do it again?
Dude, they actually. So what happened was is that they got the the reserves got a new 3-star, 2-star general, and he starts going through all the paperwork, and he's like, well, this unit is over their BIC roster, which I have no idea what BIC stood for,
Yeah.
but basically it's, hey, this is how many slots you can have, this is how many people are actually in the unit, and we were over how many people we could have in the unit, so they just started cutting people. And since I was all the guys who were no contract, no obligation, those are the first ones they cut. You're out.
Damn. Well, that makes sense, right? Especially you not
Yeah.
being
So
contracted. How are those? How are those musters? How are those monthly musters? What did you do?
we did nothing.
Nothing.
We did nothing. They were. I would rather go back in the field with 2-7 than go to a than go to a weekend muster. I would go on a week-long field off with 2-7 before I'd go back to a weekend muster with that reserve unit.
Really?
Oh, dude, it was awful.
Really? What was so awful about it?
Yeah. We have to show up at random times. So one weekend and we might be there at 06.
Yeah.
You know, we might have to show up. You know, 06 on a Saturday. The next weekend we might have to show up at 8 o'clock on a Friday, 8 o'clock at night on a Friday.
Whoa.
Once we got onto base,
Mm-hmm.
we couldn't leave for chow. If we wanted chow, we had to eat MREs.
No fucking way.
Even though they're, I cannot make this shit up, bro. Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
But why?
Just because that's what the first sergeant wanted. He didn't want any Marines leaving.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but honestly, I was a sergeant over the comm shop, so I would literally send my guys out in pairs. I'm like, I don't give a shit what first sergeant says. Like, you two go. Yeah. Hey, everyone who wants to get lunch, raise your hand. All right, come over here. Hey, you two get in the same car to go together.
Yeah.
When they get back, then you two go. And yeah, I just sent them out in pairs. But it was stupid. Like, we couldn't leave for chow. First sergeant would call formations at like 1600 and they wouldn't show up, or sorry, 1600, so 4 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah.
And then wouldn't show up till 7:30. So we'd be out there in formation, standing for 3 hours waiting on first sergeant.
Wow, not even active duty guys. Active duty guys are way more. Sometimes they take maybe. How long would they?
Like what?
40 minutes.
I think the longest.
At most.
I think the longest we waited was like 40 minutes.
Yeah, an hour at most. But usually it's not that long. We're usually just standing around there and then boom, first sergeant shows up.
Yeah.
Damn, you would think it would be a lot more lenient though, right?
Dude, you think it would, but it's the complete opposite. Even our the I&I staff sergeant over comm, I remember him, Staff Sergeant Archer, and dude, I love that guy. Even he said that he's like, this is the dumbest unit I've ever been in. But
Damn.
I'm an I&I staff sergeant. I can't say nothing.
And what's I&I? Is it just like
I&I couldn't tell you what it stands for, but
Sure.
basically every reserve unit has active duty guys assigned to them that basically help run the unit.
Gotcha. That must
So
be
yeah,
nice.
the I&I guys are a group of active duty guys that are there, 5 days a week, and then on the weekends for during muster or drill is what they call it,
Right.
to
True. That's
kind of
right.
help everything run smoothly. But of course, he was a staff sergeant. He's like, dude, I have one rocker. I can only throw it around so much.
Yeah,
When
I can only
you
do
know,
so much.
when a star sarge tells me to shut up, I just walk back in my comm shop and I just leave him alone.
Yeah, that's it. That's as far as I take it.
Yeah.
Damn. And so you were saying that you were trying to potentially get back in active duty. Why did you pursue that?
Just because. So, oh man, we're working backwards.
Yeah, you know what?
Before...
Let's take a pause
Okay.
here. All right, hold up. So
All right.
let's go back from the beginning because we're going backwards here. So
Okay. Yeah, we are.
so your hometown, Illinois, right? You said.
Yeah.
So
Yep,
Illinois, the United States Marine Corps, but why the military? Like, did you already had you thought about it for a while? Like, what influenced you to join the military?
So, my dad was a Marine.
Oh, awesome.
My dad was a Marine. One of my grandfathers was in the Navy. My other grandfather was in the Army.
Mm.
I had 2 uncles in the Army. So like just
Oh shit. Okay, you had a lot of military background. You had a lot of military history. Yeah.
Yeah, there was just a lot of military background, and I thought about it for a while, and I honestly I wanted to do it right out of high school. So I want to join, fresh 18, go in the military, let's just do this.
Right.
But my dad's like, hey, go to college first. Go to college, get a degree, and if you still want to do it, go in as an officer.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. So I went to 4 years of college, got my degree.
Wait, and, what? And then
yes.
What did you do? What did you do?
I still enlisted.
So you joined because you said you went to college. What'd you go to college for?
I got a degree in criminal justice.
Okay. So criminal justice, and then why didn't you decide to pursue the officer route?
I actually went to talk to the OSO.
Oh, did you?
So
the officer,
went to
the officer recruiter, I'm guessing, OSO.
Yeah. So an OSO it's a OSO, Officer Selection Officer.
Okay.
So they, instead of having like a staff sergeant and a sergeant as a recruiter, it's a captain, and they have usually a staff sergeant or a gunny in the office, and they do packages for officers. So I went to go see them, and we talked. We filled out a whole package. I got my letters of recommendation and my transcripts and everything that they wanted, and then he had me run a mock PFT, because unlike going enlisted where you just gotta run a mile and a half, do 5 pull-ups and 10 sit-ups, you actually had to run a PFT for the officer route.
Wow.
And I mean, I played golf in college. I wasn't in shape.
Yeah.
So I ran like a middle second class PFT.
Right.
And the OSO Staff Sergeant Hart, I never forget this. He's like, dude, you're not gonna get selected.
Wow.
He's like, yeah. He told me like, you're not gonna get selected just because you're PFT. On paper, you look great, but as soon as they see that PFT score, they're gonna throw you out. And then he also told me like, and to be honest with you, even with a first class PFT, you're an average white guy. So.
Wait, what? You're an average white guy? What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, because this would have been 2016 whenever I talked to him. He was telling me that they were really looking for...
You were in when you talked to an OSO?
No. I was still a civilian. So whenever I joined... Oh, no.
That's why I'm asking
this. I got my years all mixed up.
Yeah,
you're good.
That's why I'm asking.
Okay, this would have been 2012 when I talked to him. Sorry.
That makes sense.
2012. Yeah. At that time, they were looking for females and minorities.
Whoa, I didn't even know
And
the
he's
Marine
like,
Corps picked like that.
I didn't know either until he told me. He's like, dude, you're an average white guy. I'm like, excuse me? And then he told me, he's like,
excuse me, sir.
yeah, I beg your pardon, sir. And that's when he told me, he's like, yeah, dude, they're looking for females and minorities at this time.
What the fuck?
I was like, yeah.
I didn't know they did that shit too.
That's for the officer selection.
Right.
You know, for enlisted,
They don't give a shit.
you could, they could care less.
You could be a rock that can run a like initial strength test. If you can run it, then you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like I really wanted to go, and I went and went home and talked to my dad, and he's like, hey, well, what about the Air Force or the Navy, the Army?
Did he not want you to join the enlisted Marine Corps?
Yeah. Well, I called the Air Force. They said I had to have a 3.5 GPA, which I didn't have. And then the Navy said the same thing. I have a 3.5 GPA, which I didn't have.
Yeah.
Called the Army. The Army's like, hell yes, we'll take you.
Yeah.
Get in here, suit and tie,
Yeah.
and we will do your package and have it sent off by tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you will be an officer in 6 months.
No shit.
Okay. He made it sound like that, yeah.
Of course he did.
So I set up an appointment with him. And I show up to his office. I'm there. I'm waiting. He doesn't show. I waited there for like 2 hours, and he never showed up. I'm calling the guy. I'm texting him. No answer, no answer, no answer. So finally I go back home, and no shit, I looked up a Marine Corps enlisted recruiter, and I was like, when's as soon as you can ship me out? And he's like, get to my office ASAP.
Really? They don't fuck around.
Yeah. No, they don't.
As long as you legitimately want to do it,
yeah,
they don't fuck around. They're all about it.
So I went enlisted with the thoughts of just going Mustang after my first 4 years if I wanted to stay in.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea too. Mustang. Yeah, because you would have seen both sides of the Marine Corps, and I think Mustangs get a lot more respect than just an officer. Not only because they were enlisted, but they don't come in just acting like a lot of butter bars
they're on
do.
a high horse, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of butter bars do when they come in. And by butter bars, I mean second lieutenants, the lowest rank of the officers. But that's a thing that I think requires humbling, because
yeah.
I don't know if you've encountered any of them. I'm sure you did in 2.7. I did in 2.7. Where they would say the dumbest shit. It's like, no, sir, you don't just ram another car that just got hit by an ID. You don't just push it through and keep going. Like, chill.
This is not the movie, sir.
Yeah. Go back. The movie that you just watched isn't how you do it.
Yeah. Everything you learned in Hollywood, just throw it out.
Get it out. You don't just keep going. You fucking asshole. But so you ended up talking to the recruiter.
Yep.
I'm guessing you took your ASVAB. They gave you an option of jobs, right? They gave you an option. Why did you decide to go con route?
Dude, so I went the column route because, my first choice was aviation mechanic.
Gotcha. Were you going in with the intention of potential? What the fuck? Monster. That scared the shit out of me. Holy fuck. The pressure. God damn.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Did you go in with the intention of potentially using whatever MOS or job that you were going to pick, that you could use it when you got out?
Yes.
Gotcha. That's smart. A lot of people don't.
And I scored. Sorry, I just need to turn on the light back here. It's getting dark. So I wanted to do, and I scored pretty high. I think 91 is what I scored.
Damn, big brains over here.
Yeah.
You don't want to know.
Well, I wanted to go. I wanted to go military intelligence,
Oh, really?
but yeah, but they only have. So I apparently I didn't know this. They only get so many like the RSS, the recruiting substation,
Mm-hmm.
is what it stands for, only gets so many like contracts for each job, and they only had one contract for military intelligence, and some guy before me scored a 99 on the ASVAB, so they gave it to him.
Damn.
But he was also fat and overweight, so he actually never went. So I'm actually kind of mad that.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, they don't give a
Yeah.
fuck how smart you are. Like, if you're smart and you can't fucking run a PFT or an IST, they will talk shit. They will fucking treat
No,
you.
he could do it. He could run the IST perfectly, but he was still overweight. You had to be
Oh,
under a certain weight to ship off to boot camp.
height and weight standards, dude. Yep.
Yep,
Damn, that's
the dumbest
crazy.
thing ever. Yeah, so I wanted to be aviation mechanic because I was like, well, whenever I get out, I can go work at the airport. Or I can do this.
Wait, how old
But
did you
then
join? Since you went to college, what, like 23?
I was 23 or 24 whenever I joined, one of those two. Yeah, I was old. I was 27 when I got out, so I was
You were
23
old
whenever I
for a
joined.
Marine, for sure. For like a newly enlisted Marine, you were old, definitely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was older than all my drill instructors and my recruiters.
Holy shit. Really?
Yeah. Well,
Damn.
except for the staff sergeant that was there.
That makes sense.
The other three sergeants I was older than, but the staff sergeant I was not.
That's fucking insane. You never think
Yeah.
how young somebody is when you're going to talk to them, like at a recruiting station. You just go there with the intentions. Maybe you did because you were a little bit older. Um,
I always figured these guys were a couple of years older than I was.
yeah,
But
you always
they
think
just,
that.
yeah, well, because they're Marines, dude. Like they carry themselves very well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they did not look well. That and the Marine Corps ages you by 10 years for every year you're
Yeah,
in.
it's fucking insane. It beats your ass. Um,
Yeah.
so you were saying you were trying to go military intelligence, right? And then that
Yep.
somebody took it. Old fucking big boy took it, and
Yeah, and then aviation mechanic was my next choice.
mm-hmm.
And then the staff sergeant comes out one day. He's like, "Yo, have you ever thought about communications?" And I'm like, "No, tell me about communications." Staff sergeant. He's like, "Dude, you can go anywhere in the Marine Corps with communications." And he's like, "Aviation mechanic, you can only go here, here, and here." And he lists off like Miramar, Cherry Point, and Okinawa.
2-9 is a thing, no? Or probably, I don't know.
No.
Really?
I should know. Yeah, there is an air wing on 209.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's like, yeah, you know, communicate. If you go communications, you can go to an air wing, you can go to a grunt unit, artillery. You know, you could be doing all this cool shit. And I'm like, dude, that sounds awesome.
That sounds
And here
sick.
I am, like a 23-year-old man child or whatever you want to call me. You know, I should be smarter than to, you know, but no, this dude played. I played right into his hand. He's like, awesome. And he hands me an 06XX open contract.
Oh, so com
Nice.
open. So communication
Yeah,
MOS open.
com open. So I signed it and I was like, let's do this.
Damn. It's you know what's
Yeah,
crazy is that they do that a lot more often than I thought they did.
same here.
I thought they gave
I
people like
thought,
straight up MOSs, like 3521 motor T mechanic, 35, you know, whatever the fuck, 3531 this, but they just gave 35XX or 03XX, and then they decide
yeah,
what the fuck they like. The only reason I got motor T because I went in open contract. The only reason, yeah, real dumbass here. The only reason I got motor, well, I knew what my MOS was going to be. It was at the end of boot camp where they list off everybody's open.
yep.
And you're just like, fuck, fuck, fuck. Don't let me get cook. Don't let me get cook. You know, no disrespect to the cooks out there. They work their asses off, but I just didn't want to do that.
Smalls.
Yeah,
Smalls.
dude, fucking smalls. They take care of you too.
Uh,
They, they,
Well-
they hook it up.
we'll get to him.
Yeah. But But yeah, that's how I ended up finding out at the end of boot camp. It was just open. I didn't think they did that as often, but I guess they give everybody somewhat of an open in a specific field, though. You know.
Yeah, same here. So at the end of boot camp, I found out I was open, and I'm like,
The fuck.
the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
And then my drill instructor was like, well, you'll find out your exact MOS at the end of MCT. And I'm like, oh shit. So here I am, like after boot leave, like Googling 06XX, like what jobs can I have? And I was like, oh,
That was
crap.
after boot camp when you started
screwed
doing
up.
more research.
I was like, I messed up.
Yeah. Was that afterwards? After boot camp, that's when you started looking up what jobs were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I found out it was field wireman, radio operator, data, and that's the only three because all the rest of them are just follow-on schools.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so then I found out after MCT that I was a 0612 field wireman, and I was like, what the flip? Like, what the flip is a field wireman?
Yeah.
And I even asked one of my MCT instructors, I was like, excuse me, Sergeant Park, what's a field wireman? He's like, yeah, get used to your E-tool. You're going to be digging trenches and burying wire for the next 4 years. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Fuck, this sucks.
I was like, well, recruiter, you got me.
You got me good. Going into Marine Corps boot camp, did you do your research before going in?
So I didn't really look anything up. I talked to my dad.
Oh, really?
You know, because he, of course, I knew the experiences would differ because he went back in the 80s where, you know, if you looked at someone wrong, like you got the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just talked to him. I was like, hey, how's boot camp? How's, you know, life afterwards and everything? And he kind of gave me the rundown and he told me, he's like, dude, just keep your head up. And the biggest thing he told me was they can't stop time.
That's true.
He's like, DIs can do so much to you, but they cannot stop time. Yeah. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and you'll eventually get through it.
Yeah. I remember them telling us that's the fastest way out is getting through it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not getting hurt, not pretending to be hurt, not pretending you want to, and I'm not saying a lot of people don't commit suicide in boot camp or threaten to commit suicide.
Yep.
Because that's what some people say to get out, right? Because they're like, I'm fucking done. And it's crazy how people tap. Did you ever think about quitting when you were in boot camp? I don't think it ever crossed my mind, to be honest.
There was one time, yeah.
Oh, really?
And that's just because, so, you know, when you run your initial IST before you get picked up by your company, I went down with a heat stroke during my run.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I'm running the mile and a half, and I think they said I was about 300 yards from the finish line because I had this first sergeant yelling in my face. I'm like, sir, sir. And I'm like, this recruit can't feel his left leg, sir. And he's like, what the hell did you just say to me? And then the next thing I remember is waking up in the back of a golf cart, just like, what's going on? And like, they're holding me down, dumping ice on me, and I passed back out.
Whoa, really?
Yep, I passed back out. I woke up at the MCRD battalion, the MCRD battalion aid station, butt naked, on a bed of ice.
What the fuck?
And then, they pulled a thermometer out of my butt. I got the good old silver bullet.
Damn, they got you with that fucking werewolf killer.
Yeah, dude. So,
shit.
And then I ended up passing out again.
What the fuck?
And then I woke up in Balboa.
Wow, you were
covered in a space blanket and covered in a bunch of other blankets. And I was freezing cold. And a nurse comes in and like, they had you on ice for like 45 minutes to try and get your body temperature down.
But
what?
Go ahead.
What Navy docs don't realize is like you have to you have to take the people off the ice at a certain point, because even when you take them off the ice, their body still keeps cooling down. So like once they finally took me off the ice and
You're
they took my
freezing.
temperature again, I was down to like a 96.
Whoa.
So I was on like borderline hypothermia. So I went
Yeah.
from heat stroke to hypothermia in less than 24 hours. And
Damn.
they put me in what's called MRP, Marine
Oh no.
Rehabilitation Platoon. And
Really? In
I
the
was there for,
beginning?
yeah, in the very beginning. And dude, if you think like that is the most depressing place I've ever
Yeah.
been in my entire life.
Yeah. You could see it on the recruits' faces who were on MRP. You
Yeah,
could see it because
it's
you just want to keep going. You just want to get the fuck out of boot camp. You know, you don't want to
dude,
be there.
there was kids that were in, yeah, there was kids that were in MRP for like 9 months.
Fuck.
Yeah, but so
I
I was
can't
there
even
for two
imagine it.
weeks. I
2 weeks,
was
you
there for
said?
2 weeks, and I was there for 2 weeks, and after the first week, I was like, dude, like I'm done. I
I
There's
don't
no
blame
way I'm
you.
gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
Like I have this kid down here that's been here for almost a year. I have this kid next to me who's been here for 3 months. Like I'm never gonna get out of here. I'm stuck in MRP. I'm literally gonna retire right here at the age of 99 in the Marine Rehabilitation Platoon. Yeah. So
Wow.
that's when I hit rock bottom in boot camp.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
That's when I hit rock bottom. But dude, by the grace of God, I got out of there. They sent me to a doc, and the doctor's like, "Hey,
Jesus.
just gonna be honest with you. You have a bunch of toxins in your body from this, that, or the other. The fastest way to get them out and to get your whatever levels down is to drink water. So you need to be drinking, about 10 canteens a day.
Yeah.
Got
Whoa.
this." So I asked him, I was like, sir, the more water I drink, the faster I flush this out, right? And he's like, yeah. Dude, I was pounding 20 canteens a day.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah, I was getting like, I was
Did you
getting like
feel like
2 hours of
shit?
sleep.
Did you feel like shit
What was that?
after the heat stroke and hypothermia?
Yeah. So I spent like 16 hours in Balboa
Fuck.
just because I yeah.
How does it feel coming out of a heat stroke
I I
or
don't
being a
remember
heat
anything, to be
casualty?
honest. Like
Really?
I the last thing I remember is telling some first sergeant that like my leg was going numb, and then
I
like I
wonder
said,
what.
like it's all it's all blurs. I wake up. I remember waking up on the golf cart for like a split second. I remember waking up at the battalion aid station for a split second, and then because apparently from the time I went down to the time I got to Balboa, like 5 to 6 hours have passed,
Shit,
and I
you were
have
still fucked
I
up.
the only recollection I have of is like 30 seconds worth.
I wonder. I wonder what your temperature was at. We had a guy fucking eat
I
concrete in combat training, and he was like at 106 degrees or something like that.
I was at 107.
Yeah, and that's like borderline brain damage.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. What is it, 108 or something like that? 108 maybe? Where your brain
What
starts
awaits brain
taking
damage?
damage. That's
Yeah,
fucking insane. It's like
yeah, and
reheating
the
a
only reason
computer, dude. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, and the only reason why I remember my temperature is just because like it was told to me over and over by the doctor, who kept telling me to drink water to flush out the toxins. He's like, you probably should be fucking dead. I don't know how you're standing here in front of me. Your temperature was at 107. Like you
Yeah.
should be brain dead right now. I was like, well, good thing I am.
Yeah, I knew. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's bad. That's real bad. That's insane. That was like your first experiences in boot camp? Fuck.
Dude, that was my first 3 weeks of boot camp.
Fuck, I'm so
You had
sorry.
you had receiving week, and then my heat stroke, and then 2 weeks of MRP.
Do you think you could have prepared yourself better for boot camp though? Honestly. Do you think if you were a little bit more prepared you would have probably dealt with that a little better? Yeah.
Yeah, the main reason I would say I didn't go down because I wasn't prepared because
Sure.
I was running I was running the mile and a half in right at like 10 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty
So I mean
good.
I was in decent shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in decent shape. I just didn't drink water.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
what killed me is I was not hydrated.
Yeah. That'll fuck you up. Yeah.
Yeah, no hydration and then the lack of sleep that you get for that first week
Dude, that is the
and then
worst. That is the worst.
and
I
then
think
running
that's
your
the worst part.
IST. Yeah, I was done.
Yeah, I think that's the worst part about of all. Yeah, for me, that and the gas chamber. I think those are the two worst things for me. Um, because you don't
The
sleep for
get
like the first 2 days, which really suck. Because I've never
Yeah.
been that tired in my life before. It was just falling asleep standing up. I was never like that ever. I've never experienced that sort of exhaustion. Like it was so much. But
Dude, that those last 3 days of the crucible or whatever they call it now,
mm-hmm.
getting like 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Dude,
Was intense.
and then that final hike where you
That
get
one
to
sucks.
Mount Motherfucker or
Yeah.
whatever it's called. Well, it
Reaper?
used to be called Mount Motherfucker.
It's the Reaper.
Now it's called something different.
Wait, is it the Reaper?
Yeah, the Reaper. That's what they call it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I remember like I was so tired, and then we stopped at the bottom of the Reaper, and I'm watching the truck drive up it, like where we're gonna be walking. And the funny thing is like his headlights like go to point straight at the sky. Like I'm looking for a bat signal up there. I was like, how am I gonna walk up this? I can nap right here, right now. How am I gonna get up this?
Yeah.
But dude, like, so I had a guy that was walking behind me, and dude, like, I'm just chugging along, like dying, and this dude was the epitome of like first class Marine. Like this dude, he could run probably 17 miles and still hike that with zero sleep and be totally fine. Like he was just in peak physical performance. Anytime I started to like dip back, he just shoved me up.
Hell yeah, dude, that's the type of people you need, man, to help you out.
I know, dude. Like, and he'd yell at me too. He's like, "I'm not slingshotting," and he'd shove me up the entire time. I'm like, "Oh, Kirby, thank God for you."
I'm not slingshotting. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That you know what's funny is that I remember that exact moment when you see that truck going up that mountain hill. You see it going up that bitch. You're like, what the fuck? Because you stop right before going up. You guys pause, and then the truck's like, and they get smaller, and they get smaller, and they get smaller, and then you see it going up, and you're like, holy fuck. And like, that's almost straight up. Like, that's almost.
Yeah.
And we were the first company to go up the thing. And I remember talking in like Warriors breakfast. Yeah. I remember talking to a few of the other guys in Warriors breakfast or whatever the fuck it's called afterwards. And they were like, yeah, we saw you guys going up there, and then we saw the platoon just scatter. Just start falling apart up the Reaper. It just started like nobody was keeping up. And I remember I was like, I just gotta get up there. Just get up there. We're almost done. Like, we're right here. I ate shit on the way to the Reaper because it was like it was nighttime when you're hiking over there.
Oh yeah, it was like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, super fucking early. It's super magical moment up there. It's weird though, mystical. I want to say
it really is though.
Yeah.
I do remember that very final hill before you get to the Reaper. It goes up and down, but that final hill and then it plateaus off where you have your EGA, so your Eagle Globe and Anchor ceremony. I do remember our senior drill instructor stopping us and like just gave this like moto speech.
Yes.
And like not even speech, but like we were about ready to run into battle. Like we were the Spartans about ready to run into battle.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys have worked your ass off for 3 months for everything. He's like, if you want it, it's up there. Go get it. And everyone's like, fuck this. And just like takes off running.
Yeah, dude. It's such a power boost.
yeah, I'm not tired anymore. I'm
Yeah.
ready. Like to sprint up this last little part.
Yeah, I think they like war cry all the way up or something. You just fucking
Hmm.
it that I remember that moment too. That was fucking awesome. That was so
Yeah.
awesome. That was like,
Did
man, that was such a great moment.
Did you cry when you got your Eagle Acre?
I teared up. Yeah, I didn't like piss cry.
You did.
I no,
You bawled like a
I
little
didn't.
baby, didn't you?
I just couldn't. I just couldn't stop. I was ugly crying, just like just the weirdest noises. No, like I definitely had some tears coming down my face,
Mhm.
but I wasn't like all sniffly like I was definitely
Yeah.
very. It's a weird thing, cause it's such a like. I mean, you've been there. It was foggy as
Oh yeah.
fuck. Like it's you see the sun's coming up. Like it's quiet as fuck. You're all dirty, tired. Like they said right before going up that last hill, you're like, this is everything you've been working for. This is the
Yeah.
final part. This is it. You're about to
Yeah.
become a fucking Marine, right? And you have these expectations. At least I did. I was like, man,
Mhm.
I'm stoked. You get your Eagle Globe and Anchor, you're fucking crying, you're about to cry, whatever it may be. Then you do that hike back, which feels eternal. At least for me, it felt like
Oh yeah.
it
The
never
hike
ended.
back is only like 3 miles, but it feels
It was only
like 12.
3 miles.
I think so. Yeah.
It felt so long.
But it's all downhill too. It's like it's all easy.
Yeah, it just
And
felt forever.
yeah, I think a lot of it that made it feel forever too was the at least for us is our DIs, they would run back and forth, and at this point, they were done yelling and screaming at us.
Yeah,
Like at this point, they're
same.
chanting cadence, and
Right.
they're making it fun now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, like why didn't we do this throughout boot camp? Like I would have. This would have been so much easier, but of course, because it would have been so much easier.
It would have been so much more
Yeah,
motivating, you know?
you really would.
Yeah.
But I mean, they really do. That's one thing that people don't realize. Even Marines, now active duty, and one thing that I didn't realize until after I got out, they really do brainwash you in boot camp, dude. Like it might not be to the fact that like the civilians, like, oh, they brainwash you in boot camp, kill, kill, kill. No, they literally break you down to nothing, and then they build you back up as and that's where you start your camaraderie at.
Yeah.
Like that's where you start your Marine Corps brotherhood and camaraderie, and
Yeah, that's where it
that's where they
starts.
really
Yeah.
that's where it starts, and that's where they start to instill it on you. And
Yeah. I think they do a good job at making it like you get fucked up for somebody else's mistakes and
oh yeah,
and so that makes you want to keep you and your peers like on the right path. Like we have to fucking keep going. We have to keep doing this. We have to do this right or whatever. They definitely do a good job at building you up, like you said, to what they kind of want. Even if you
yeah,
go in
to,
with
to a
the go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, to a basic Marine standard. I mean,
Yeah.
that's their job at boot camp. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to be a natural trained killer at a boot camp ever.
No.
Well, Marines know that, but civilians think that you're just going to be some natural trained killer at a boot
Yeah.
camp. But no, you're a basic level Marine.
Yeah, basically
And
trained
I think
Marine
they
with
do a good
basic
job of it.
fundamentals
Yeah.
at shooting. They show you the basics of shooting and then leaving and then going into combat training that's where it gets more detailed and you go in. I think combat training was way harder. I personally think so. Physically.
Oh yeah, yes, I agree with you. Yeah, physically, I think MCT was harder.
Yeah.
Boot camp is definitely 99% mental.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
2% physical, and then once you get to MCT, it's 90% physical and 1% mental.
To be honest, I wish they prepared you a little bit better for MCT. I don't think they do. Like physically. Cuz boot camp,
No.
in my case, I was super fucking skinny. I went in like 140,
Mm-hmm.
like 140 pounds.
Yeah.
and I got out of boot camp at like 115. So I fucking lost weight, and I was already skinny. So it was
Yeah,
like I was fucking like a dry raisin, dude.
yeah, and then MCT, yeah,
You need
you're carrying
muscle.
your rucksack.
Yeah,
Yeah, you need muscle to get through it, and
yeah. You need endurance. You need muscle, and I don't necessarily think it offers a lot of that. It offers more a lot of mental strength, which is good for a lot of MCT. But the 15K shit like
Mhm.
that, anything beyond that, it requires endurance, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
what I
and
felt like I was lacking, to be honest.
yeah, boot camp does not in my opinion as well. It does not prepare you for MCT in the
Mm-mm.
slightest.
Mm-mm. I think that's something that they could potentially slightly work on, because then you'd get better, more efficient Marines. I think. Like if like I was talking about this with the last guy, I think the Marine Corps becomes less. I guess we can say deadly when it comes to being in the fleet and not like just 2-7, not 2-7 and not I'm not speaking about like 2-7, but I'm talking about like other units.
Mhm.
Um, because yeah, you do this whole combat training, right? You do MCT, Marine Combat Training, and then you get out, you go to your school. There's barely
Mhm.
any sort of combat training. You go to the fleet, and if you're in a super unit, like if you're in a unit that is not active or isn't deploying, then you're not gonna necessarily
Yeah,
get any sort of that training anymore. That's it.
yeah. You go to the rifle range once
Once
a
a
year.
year, yeah, and that's it. And I think it loses its lethality, to be honest.
I agree with you, just because I know, so one of my good friends in the Marine Corps, he was a wireman,
Mm-hmm.
and he was stationed out in North Carolina, but he was also with a grunt unit. But he's got a big fat stack of ribbons on him. I mean, he's seen some shit. Uh, a lot of my MCT instructors, well, they claimed to have been in combat and
Right.
seen some shit, and I think that's one thing better that the Marine Corps could do is, instead of going to the rifle range once a year, hey, like let's do like a week of, take all these non O3s and have the O3s train them for a week, or take them out to a range
Do
for
a
a week, or
range. Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Do a range. Do some refresher courses on hand signals. Do a refreshing course on patrol formations. Um,
Yeah.
I think it could be deadlier, but unfortunately they're too fucking busy doing bullshit working parties and just stupid plain this just plain dumbass games. And
Oh
I understand that different units have different missions, but if you really want to support the Marine Corps, every Marine is a rifleman thing, um, you need to like back it up.
yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, when you say every Marine's a rifleman, no, every Marine can shoot on a rifle range.
that's different.
That's
Very different. Not every Marine can
yeah,
go into a house. Not every Marine, can do all these sort of all these sort of things. Not every Marine can identify IED signs. Not every Marine can do any
yeah.
of the. Not every Marine has training with a minesweeper. Um, you know, I don't know if you ever got to do that. I got to do that with 2-7.
Yeah, we went to, was it range 800? I think is
Mhm.
what it is.
Mhm. Where you get training.
Yeah,
That was pretty cool.
and I will admit, so after my basic, was it Marine Combat Training,
Mhm.
MCT? After that, went to my job school in 29 Palms, um, and then by my luck and the grace of God, I got stationed across the base in 29 Palms.
Second Battalion, Seventh Marines.
um, yeah, Second Battalion, Seventh Marines, and honestly, like at first when I got stationed to a grunt unit, I was so happy.
Mm.
I was like, dude, cool. If I don't get attached to an infantry, one of the infantry companies, that's fine. At least we'll go out to field ops. At least we'll do some cool stuff.
Right.
Which, we did do a lot of cool stuff,
Mhm.
but we did do a lot of stupid games that
Yeah.
our staff NCOs just like to screw us on.
Well, I mean, you see how recently 2-7's been on the spotlight with the whole Christmas leave thing for their NCOs and how they
Dude, that
canceled all their leave. But that reminds me of like dumbass shit that would happen in that battalion all the time. Like when they had like 6 Marines per floor on duty because somebody fucked up. I can't remember. Somebody stole something. So they were like, good,
Yeah.
fuck all of you. You guys are all going to be on duty. Every single one of you will be on duty. And,
So, I'm going to go ahead and come clean about something about that.
Oh, you motherfucker, dude. What?
Do you remember the glow stick fight?
Oh, of course I remember the glow stick fight. Yeah.
Do you remember how we had duties after that on every floor and rovers and
that
everything?
That was right before the second deployment?
Yes, that was right before our second deployment.
I remember that, yeah.
I started that glow stick fight.
Did you actually?
I did. So it was me, Coyle, and a couple of the other comm guys. We like to have what we call porch parties, where we'd roll a cooler of beer out to the back patio of the barracks, and we just sit there and we drink. That's awesome. All we sit there, shoot the shit, and drink. So I remember I walked around to the front to grab something out of my car, and I noticed that there was a bunch of like at least like 20 like broken glow sticks in the parking lot. So I picked all these up. I went to go get beer out of my car,
right.
But that didn't matter. So I picked up all these broken glow, and they're all glowing and everything. Picked them all up. I walked back to the porch party, and we noticed people down in the grunt barracks out there smoking. So we just start lobbing these things, just real nicely at them, and they're throwing them back, we're throwing them back, and then all of a sudden,
I don't know what the fuck happened.
Went off the rails.
It turned into a Star Wars episode, Clone Wars.
Dude, that was so fun though.
It was so fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
How did we get that many glow sticks? Where did you have a video of it? Do you have a video of that still?
No, I do not.
Okay, if somebody is watching this, right, and when I do post this, if you have it, send me the video, please. I want to post it, and I want to share some clips of it, because it got fucking out of hand real fast. Like.
Yeah, it really did, though.
That was so fucking insane. I remember looking outside, and it was just like waves of glow sticks this way, waves of glow sticks that way. It was just fucking ridiculous.
Because you had all these grunts who, for some reason, had ammo cans full of glow sticks in their barracks rooms for no reason whatsoever. Oh, cool. Well, now I have, I can use these now. I've been hoarding them for the past, 4 years.
Right.
I can use them now, and
then it turns into a barracks war.
Yeah, I probably picked up initially, I think like 15, and it went from like 15 to thousands.
There's so many. PMO showed up, right? Military police.
Yeah, military police showed up because I remember Sergeant Warren from the comm shop was on duty, and he started yelling at people to stop, and people started throwing glow sticks at him. So he's yelling at people. So they threw it at the regiment, or not the regiment, the battalion duty, and I'm pretty sure he called PMO. PMO rolls up, they snatch up 2 lance corporals and make them pick up all the glow sticks. And as they're picking them up, PMO leaves. So PMO's not even staying to finish watching these kids pick up the glow sticks. So one of the lance corporals was like, dude, screw this. Like, throws it down on the ground, throws the big ammo can or trash can or whatever he was putting them on the ground, and then starts walking away. And when he did that, dude, everyone came out of the barracks and started throwing them again. Yeah.
Did they show up twice, PMO?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
After the first time, I was like,
That's
I'm out.
I'm done. That's
yeah.
enough.
I'm going memes.
Yeah. I can't believe that shit, dude. I can't believe that happened. I can't believe the brawl happened.
I wasn't there for that, dude. The funny thing is the glow stick night freaking Reed Holzhauser almost got a, and this is just to kind of tell you like how much it escalates in the Marine Corps. Is you start out with a glow stick war of just throwing glow sticks back and forth, not a big deal. Then someone started throwing beer bottles, and Brady got hit in the head with a beer bottle, had to get stitches, right?
Yeah. I don't think he got stitches. I think he just said fuck it. But he definitely got hit in the face.
Yeah, he got hit in the head with a beer bottle, and then after that, someone off the fourth deck, the fourth level of the grunt barracks, pushed out a brand spanking new computer cabinet, or wardrobe is probably a better word for it.
It's a wardrobe.
Yeah, this thing was brand new. I mean, the barracks just got them 2 weeks ago, and they pushed it off the fourth deck. And I'll never forget, I'm standing down there when it happened, and like Reed Holzhauser was on duty, and he walks out, and it literally just falls off. Like he walked out the back door, and it falls down, and it hits the ground, and he just turned around and walked back inside.
It's like, fuck that. I'm not even dealing with that.
Yep. And which is probably a smart thing.
Smart thing, 100%.
Yeah.
I remember I saw them getting it ready to toss it, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, what the fuck are they doing? And then I just see it going. Like, I wonder what's going on through those Marines' heads. Like, yeah, this will be sick. Toss it.
And the worst part about it, I'd say the worst part about it is there was probably, 50 to 60 people out there.
Oh, it was so many.
Someone could have been level-headed and be like, yo, like, take that inside. But no, you had 60 Marines chatting, throw it off, or whatever they were chanting. So, of course, the guys who have it ready are like, oh, well, dude, like, we want to please the crowd.
You can't disappoint the people. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm a people's man. Oh.
I can't believe how fast shit can get out of hand. Oh, fuck. Yeah. That's hilarious. It's moments like those where it's like, holy fuck. That was... And that's one thing when I joined the Marine Corps is my dad, my recruiters, and even my comm school instructor, they all told me the same thing. They said, listen, 90% of your Marine Corps life is going to suck. You are going to hate it, and you're going to want to quit and get out. But 10% of it is going to be amazing. And that 10% is going to outweigh the 90%. And I was like, there's no way. But now looking back on it, like it's so true. And I think that's what that especially, veterans, that's what we chase when we get out. We chase that camaraderie, I want to go out to my neighbors and, start chanting, toss that desk and watch, Al across the street, just toss a wardrobe off his roof and like, you got it. Yeah. It's definitely a big part that is missed when you get out of the Marine Corps. That sort of shenanigans that goes on, and and I don't think, and unfortunately, I don't think there's something that's gonna fill that. That's gonna fill that sort of void, I guess.
No.
And I don't like to think about it because it sucks, but it's like, man, I'm never gonna experience anything like that again, like ever. There's never gonna be any experience where there's 80 people here and 80 people there about ready to fucking beat the shit out of each other. And then Brady, Cat, runs over there and hits the biggest dude in the face, and then a brawl breaks out. And then PMO shows up, you see people scatter like fucking rats back into the holes, just gone.
Dude, I was not there for that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I was actually staying at a buddy's house out in town that weekend, and I started seeing everything on the Snapchat. I'm like, what?
It was
Ugh.
insane. I don't even remember. I heard things about how it started, but I don't really remember. I know. I think we had just gotten back from deployment, and 2-7 guys were having like a little party down at that little barbecue thing, little grill and
Mhm.
table where everybody would drink at. Um, and some, I don't know who it was. Was it 1-7 or 3-7?
From what I heard, 1-7 was messing
With
with one of 2-7's boots.
and he got laid the fuck out. That's what I
Yeah.
heard. I heard he
And
got
that started 1-7 to empty their barracks, which then we emptied all. Yeah.
and then and then it just got dangerous. It got fucking dangerous real fast because there was like duties in between the crowds, like in between both groups,
Mhm.
trying to stop it all. Like no, 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 and then like I remember the O because I was upstairs looking down on it, and I remember the OD being next to me. He's like, "Fuck that! I'm not going down there." He's like,
No,
"Yeah,
absolutely not.
no, why would you?" He's like, "Fuck that! I'm not going down there." Um, and people started throwing shit, and then once people started throwing shit, that's when the tensions were building up more and more, and then somebody threw something at Brady but missed, and he was already drunk, so he just got pissed and ran in there, and then that's when it started going down, and I was like, oh shit.
Cracked the biggest dude there, and then all hell broke
And
loose.
all hell broke loose. It just I think 1-7 got spanked. I think that's what happened. I think I
Of course it
heard.
did.
I think I heard there was a lot of 1-7 guys laid out on the floor, just out, and I think like 2 of them had to go to the hospital. No offense, 1-7, 2-7's better. No, but yeah, it's definitely memorable times for sure, where you don't really have time to reflect on. Like I was talking to the last guy about it. Like he's been in over 20 years, and he's gone
Mhm.
through some shit. He has a stack of like fucking I don't know how many rows up. Um, but I was like, you get a lot of time to reflect on it when you're out. That's for sure. As much as you don't really even think about it, you just reflect on it, and then you miss it. It's weird. It's
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I know we just kind of like skipped over my entire Marine Corps career, but whenever I got out, uh, it was it sucked. Like at first, you are, even though the Marine Corps was so, I don't want to say terrible, but even though there are some sucky things, and you wanted to get out and you wanted to be done with it, when you finally get out, like we talked about earlier, you're on that DD 214 high.
mm-hmm.
You're like, I'm out. I never
Fucking
gotta deal with this
free.
ever again.
Yeah.
And then, so for me anyway, I was on that DD 214 high, and then I was out for like 6 months, and I couldn't find a job. I was freshly married.
Mm-hmm.
Right before my second deployment, I got married.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I, you know, had a son, well, stepson, but he's my son.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I get out of the Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, I was bringing home a steady paycheck. I was able to,
Yeah.
buy groceries. I put a roof over
You
our
were
head. I was able
comfortable.
to do all this.
You didn't worry about. You knew there
Exactly.
was a paycheck coming, no matter what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And especially being, a man that grew up in a household where the father provided, and obviously my mom went to work and everything, but
Sure.
my dad was the breadwinner.
Right.
I get out, and 6 months later, I can't even get a minimum wage job. I just So
Fuck.
here I am. My wife is in the Air National Guard,
Mm-hmm.
and she's the one bringing home the money, and just, dude, it sent me
Down a
like just
spiral.
spiraling down. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's and I do want to go back to your whole Marine Corps enlistment. I don't want to
Yeah.
skip through that, but I get what you're saying. For me, I did have some plans, right? But I didn't get to fully tell you my side. Like my shit fell through every single plan. I had like two.
Mm-hmm.
I had a plan and a backup plan. I should have had a backup
Mm-hmm.
to the backup, but I didn't.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to get into the Riverside Police Department right before I got out. I passed
Yeah.
all their tests, flying colors, physical fitness test,
Mhm.
I killed it. Written test, I passed them both, and they didn't call me back. I was like, what the fuck, man? I was like,
Yeah, same.
I'm about to get out of the Marine Corps. I'm about to get out. You guys could get me as soon as I get out. Nope.
Yeah, same thing happened with me in San Bernardino.
Yeah, San Bernardino. That's where I was. That's where I was applying to. Yeah, San Bernardino. I think
Yeah.
sheriff department or something like that. And
Yeah, same here, man. I did all their tests, passed with flying colors, did the polygraph,
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah. I don't understand why. I figured we would be the better candidates.
I even just assumed that they would at least call me and tell me that I didn't get the job.
You would think so.
But yeah. But even still, this day, I haven't heard from them. So
Me either.
unless my application's like buried somewhere, and they're eventually like, "Oh, hey, do you still want a job?" I don't know, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
No.
I had called them too. I called them to check on my application. They're like, "Oh, this officer has your application, and they should follow up if anything." And I was like, "Cool." Nothing. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
that fucking sucks. And then I was going after the other thing that I was trying and fell through too. And I was like, oh, fuck. Okay, so what do we do now? Where are we going from here? Because, yeah, I worked on trucks, but the training isn't something that is the same as working at a shop out here. It's nowhere near
Right.
the knowledge or nowhere near the actual legitimate training. Like, I knew how to fix these things because I ran into these problems so many times. But it was like, if I were to go back in there now, because I'm an automotive tech right now, being a technician, knowing what I know now, I would be a way better, fucking way better technician in the Marine Corps. Like, I'd be murdering it in the Marine Corps. But that's where I wasn't very confident in my skills when it came to being out here, because whenever people would ask, like, did you ever work at a shop? And I'm like, well, yeah.
Well, and one thing that people don't realize too is they just assume that, hey, you did this in the Marine Corps, so this should directly translate to the civilian world, which it doesn't.
No.
Like, just for instance, like you were a motor team mechanic in the Marine Corps, but you can't go out, and it'd be extremely hard for you to get a job because you're not ASC certified. Everyone wants that ASC certification, or they want to see this, they want to see that. Like me, I was a telecom operator, but I can't go work telecom because I don't have this certification or that certification or this degree in it. So that's one thing that I think where they get you when they get you in the Marine Corps is like, oh, well, the skills that you learn in the Marine Corps would directly translate to the civilian world. They don't.
And
none of them do.
Yeah, what's fucked up, and I know it's not something that they do on purpose. It's just something that isn't implemented. And there's specific programs that you can do, right? Where, for example, for my MOS, my job, like, there's a thing where I would be able to keep track of every sort of thing that I've done. I would have to keep a record of every single service, and at some point, I think you would get I don't know if it's a certification, but I know the Marine Corps doesn't certify people for whatever job they're doing.
Right.
And I had seen a video a while ago where this congresswoman is like grilling the chief of staff, or like all the military heads, where they're like, "Are you guys certifying your people?" And they're like, "No. Air Force, yes. This other branch, no." And it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, they got the money. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you certifying these people? They're giving, and don't get me wrong, I understand, and this is the hard part about a volunteer process, right? Because it's hard for me, at least. For me, it's hard to kind of expect and demand something if it's something that I volunteer to at the end of the day, because I feel like people can hit you with the, well, you decided to join, right? You decided to go for it. And I think that's where people can, and I'm not saying people do that, but I just think they should do that. They should certify people. I think it would give people more incentives, right? because you go in with the Marine Corps thinking doors open for you, or the military in general, not just Marine Corps. But I think you go with the thought process where if I get out, doors are gonna be open. And sure, some maybe, but it's not like what people think.
Yeah, so I 100% agree with you that they should certify people. Do I think they should do it at the MLS school? Probably not.
No, not at the
But
MLS school.
but should they do like a follow-on school? Like, hey, do you want to go with the certification? Okay, cool. We can sign you up for this follow-on school, or even during TRS,
Yeah.
which is
Transition readiness seminar.
that's it.
Yeah.
During TRS, they should be like, hey, you can go to these follow-on schools for free to get certified. Here's where they are. Here's how you sign up for it. But they don't tell you any of that.
No.
None of it.
No. They show you how to
write a resume.
They show you how to blow up your job to make it seem like you've done weight, because when you do put it in, when you do write everything down, right? I worked on vehicles that were worth millions, right? And it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. 100% true. These vehicles were worth a lot of fucking money. Does it mean that it was held to a specific standard? No. The only thing that these vehicles needed is not be leaking, and by I mean leaking, like dripping. If nothing was dripping, they were good. If there were specific things that were leaking, like brake fluid, then we can't allow it to leave. It's borderline. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I took that.
Only one wheel is leaking brake fluid. We're fine.
Everything else is good. I took that aspect serious just because I didn't want anybody to get hurt legitimately.
Yeah.
But I just think they could do better, man. Especially for people who are volunteering. I mean, that's
I
you know.
100% agree with you.
Yeah.
100%. Not only that, but like open up. So, like the GI Bill covers this much.
Yeah.
You know, your GI Bill whenever you get out. So, like for me, I was school trained in the Marine Corps as a telecom operator. If I want to go get, you know, a telecom, you know, certification, you know, it's a 2-week boot camp course. Out of pocket, if I was to pay for it, it cost me like anywhere from like $2,000 to $7,000.
Damn.
You know, but yet, you know, I can go get a degree in underwater basket weaving at the University of, you know, South Carolina, and the GI Bill will pay, you know, $130,000, but they won't pay for me to go take a certification in the field that I did my Marine Corps my training.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me.
It is weird. And I tried using mine for like a trade course, like an electrician course, to get certified, and they were like, GI Bill doesn't cover it. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What's this for? Like,
yeah,
is
like
it just strictly for school?
And which is stupid. So like they cover like 4-year, they cover community college, 4-year degrees, and like if you want to go like WyoTech or some type of ASC certification school, they'll cover that.
Yeah.
I believe they cover welding school as well.
Yeah, they cover welding school.
Yeah, but if you just want to take like a 3-month course to get certified in like HVAC.
Yeah, nope.
Nope.
It's all you. But I don't understand it.
I don't either. There's a lot of things I believe that not only the Marine Corps but the military could do better for people transitioning out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for instance, you know, whenever I went through the transition readiness seminar, it's the guy teaching it, and which made me laugh because I mean, this dude openly admitted he's had 8 different jobs in the past 4 years. Damn. Okay, so you've worked 6 months at each job, and what? But he's the one teaching us how to get a job, how to keep a job, and how to write a resume. I was like, I don't understand this. Like, you've had 8 jobs in 4 years. How are you teaching us how to keep a job?
Do you remember if he's a veteran too? Like he's a veteran, right?
He was not. Oh. No, the guy that taught our course wasn't even a veteran, which was crazy.
Yeah. They need somebody who is experienced what the fuck it's like getting out of the military.
Exactly, and that's one thing that kills me is they take this civilian off the street who just applied for it. I'm like, yeah, I have a degree in public speaking. I can teach a course. Oh, cool, you're hired.
Yeah, pay him a fuck ton.
No, yeah, they need to get people like, someone who is transitioned out of the military, who has a good paying job,
Yeah.
to come work for like just a week out of the year. Have a couple teachers just rotating. Hey, come work
The
for us for a week out
speakers.
of the year.
The
Yeah,
speakers.
and teach this course.
Yeah, and different MOS speakers, I think, because it's like, I think
Absolutely.
yeah, they should. I think you should help people get options. You can't just try to funnel it all through one thing when it's not. That's why we go to different MOS schools. It's like if we all went to MCT and get taught our job, which it isn't the case. We all go to a different school
Yeah.
and we all get taught how to do a little bit of this, but yeah, I think that's an aspect where they could definitely better. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Is it going to take more suicides? Is it going to take more homelessness? Is it going to take more loss of retention for them to try to make it a little bit more tempting?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what the consequences
Yeah,
are going to have to be.
I would say that's probably the one thing that killed me. Is the one thing that hurt me was whenever I was getting out. They taught me how to write a resume, which, I mean, to be honest with you, I went to 4 years of college, and they teach you how to do that as well.
Yeah.
So there was some things new
Sure.
that they implemented that were helpful. They taught you how to interview for a job, but they didn't teach you how to like go out and find jobs specific to your field that you could transition to immediately.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, go on Indeed and search whatever you want.
Yeah.
No, like you should. To me, that 2 weeks is the most important of an entire Marine's existence.
At least a Marine who is transitioning existence.
Yes.
And
someone, yeah, to a Marine who's getting out, that 2 weeks is the most important of their military career, and I believe that they should easily spend more time on it and actually revamp the entire course.
You know what sucks is that they make it seem like such a you have to fucking do it thing where you don't want to be there. They make it seem like it's
exactly.
Yeah, they make it seem like this has to get fucking done. You don't have a choice. You have to fucking do it. And
exactly.
It's just a check in the box for them. That's all it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But they need to make it to where, like, hey, it's not that you have to go to this. It's you should want to go to this.
Yeah, you should want to. Yeah.
Like,
but you've heard all these things about TRS that you're just like, oh, it's worthless, or it's not that it's worthless. It's just there's this much information that you actually necessarily use from it.
Right.
Well, I know how to write a resume, or I could use the tips that you gave me, but that's not necessarily preparing you. And they do a good job at getting you ready to do whatever you need to do to be a Marine and do the tasks that come with it, but they don't do a good job at taking that warrior ethos,
helping you transition back to civilian.
Yeah.
Especially when you go, like, when you spend that 4 years of your life, if someone talks to you the wrong way or someone disrespects you, well, guess what? Like, these hands are rated E for everyone. Like, you can just throw down with someone. You can yell at and curse at someone.
Yeah.
They build you up to that warrior mentality, even if you are a pogue like me and you, but they build you up that warrior mentality.
Yeah.
And then when you get out, they don't teach you how to, like, de-escalate that warrior mentality. They're like, hey, here's a slap on the butt. Have fun in the civilian world.
Yeah. Here's a pat on the back.
And then you get out in the civilian world knowing how to write a resume, knowing what to say in an interview to make someone hire you, but yet not how to de-escalate a situation whenever someone gets in your lane or someone like tries to tell you how to do your job, or just pisses you off at your job or whatnot. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
that's something that I had to get better at. instead of just being an asshole. Um, that's something that I definitely had to take, obviously, upon myself and like, okay, this does not work out here. This does not work. This does not work. This does not work. You have to not. And I would tell people like I'm working on it. Like I'm trying to not be
Yeah.
a fucking asshole. So please don't try to trigger me because I just don't wanna. I don't want to be that fucking asshole. You know, it doesn't. It's obviously it doesn't have its place out here because we're not. We don't have to be this aggressive anymore.
Yeah.
It's not necessary anymore. People's lives aren't depending on it anymore, like they were. Whether we like to think about it or not, people's lives would depend on our in any situation that we could have been in Iraq, TQ, Al Assad, any sort of that situation.
Oh, absolutely, man. Like I remember back in on our first deployment,
Mm-hmm.
I was standing started off standing post in Kuwait
Mm-hmm.
with you guys,
Yeah.
and then yeah, the mortar team I was attached to, we got pulled into the office one day by Gunny Austin. He's like, "Hey, you guys are going to Iraq." I'm like, "Gunny, shut up. No, we're not."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, seriously. Like, you guys are going to Al Assad, Iraq." I was like,
Oh shit.
"Dude, like this shit's getting, yeah, like this shit's getting real."
Yeah.
And the only people there at that point were the Green Berets. There was a small detachment of Green Berets that were there. And then yeah, we flew in on not C-130s, and then the guys right before us flew in on those stupid airplanes that
The
the
Ospreys.
rotors go. Yeah,
Yeah.
those things were garbage.
Yeah. Those things are
Yeah,
terrifying.
but yeah, that was the first reality check. I mean, even though that we never went outside the wire, we never did anything like that.
Sure.
But I'll never forget the first day we took IDF.
So okay. Let's step back a little bit, okay? So
Okay.
you get to 2-7, right? And
Yeah.
we're gonna come back to this whole point, your first point of IDF.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it here. So you get to 2-7. Did you know that you were gonna deploy before you joined? Like, did you have that idea, or like that there was a potential chance of it going on?
Before I got to 2-7, or when I was in 2-7?
Like right before, because I feel like a lot of people get told, "Oh, 2-7 is potentially going somewhere," or 2-7 is deploying.
So, in comm school, no. In comm school, I was under the understanding that 2-7 was going to be on a MEU for the next deployment, because they just got back from Afghan not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I was under the understanding that, and a couple of the comm instructors even came from like the 7th Reg. Like, yeah, they're taking them out of the Afghan rotation. They're going to put them on a MEU, a Marine Expeditionary Unit. You'll be on a boat for the next 8 months if you go to 2-7. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
So no, I thought I was going to go on a MEU.
Yeah, on a booze cruise.
To be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, because I wasn't with 2-7 right off the bat. I got stationed in Tournament Bombs, but I got stationed with this unit called VMU-3, which was like a very, very inactive unit. They did like droid reconnaissance. They flew those fucking those drones around, and they
Oh, yeah.
But that unit disbanded like 6 months into my enlistment, and they went to Hawaii, and they spread everybody out around the unit, and they sent me and Kanan, because Kanan and I were both in that unit.
Oh together. Yeah, I remember Kanan.
Yeah. They sent us both to 2-7, and they were like, "Yo, these guys are going to Afghanistan." And then I had the staff sergeant was like hyping us up. He's like, "You're about to go see the real fucking Marine Corps." He's like, "This isn't shit. Like where we're at right now isn't shit. You're about to you boys are in for like a real ride." And I was like, "Oh fuck." I was like, "Oh shit, here we go."
Yeah.
I was a Lance Corporal. I was like a few months in the fleet. I had duty recovery. Like after duty, I'd have a day off. So I was like, "Woo, this is great." Then 2-7.
Yeah, and when I don't know if you remember DeMoss.
I do remember DeMoss.
Darren DeMoss.
I spoke with him.
So we were in comms. Yeah, we were in comm school together, and we got stationed in 2-7 together. When we got to 2-7 together, that's when we were told that, hey, you guys get your fucking shit together. You're going to Afghanistan. Like, you're going to see, you're going to fight in the big war.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, let's go for it. And then, so I honestly, like, I was hyped up to go to Afghanistan. I really wanted to go.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until
halfway through the whole training, through the pre-deployment.
Yeah, halfway through the workup.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, you're not going to Afghanistan. You're going to go on the special purpose MAGTF.
Yeah, that they just opened up.
Stupid.
Yeah. I had no idea we were going to Iraq, though, to be honest. I was like, oh, special purpose MAGTF, Kuwait, cool.
Well, yeah, no one knew.
Yeah. Because the operation hadn't started yet. Operation Inherent Resolve wasn't a thing yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was just so... and what makes me upset is I was with Weapons at the time that they said that we were going to go on the special purpose MAGTF. And Weapons like, oh, yeah, we're going to go to Yemen. I was like, yo, dude, I'm going to go to freaking Yemen.
Yeah.
This is dope. No, they took all the ROs out of Weapons and they brought in Ball and Frito, who didn't do any of the work with Weapons. Like, yeah, you guys are going to go to Yemen with Weapons. I was like, dude, I was a pouty little child. I was so mad.
Well, I mean, you trained with them the whole time, You would think.
Yeah. I was like, dude, I just did, 6 to 8 months of field ops with the mortar platoon. Like, let me go with you guys, please. And they're like, no, sorry. Wow. It's stupid.
Why did they do that? Just...
No idea.
Huh.
Well, Ball I understood because he was a data marine, and they needed a data marine over there.
Gotcha.
But Frito, it was because something I forget, because Nixon was CAT. Nixon was one of my seniors. He was in CAT platoon, and then the guy who was in charge of headquarters weapons was EASing. So they brought in Frito at the last minute, and since he was headquarters, he
took that spot.
Got to go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about Yemen. I forgot how crazy that shit ended up being, where they had to evacuate the embassy, right? And
and
destroy all their gear.
Concrete all the weapons and break everything, and
that's insane.
Burn piles of money.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Because they basically had to destroy everything there, right? Because
everything.
The country collapsed. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, the Houthis took over.
Damn. That's fucking... And they were just there to defend the embassy, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were, because apparently in the same compound it was the embassy and a hotel. And they were there to defend the embassy and the hotel, and then once the Civil War popped off or whatever it was, and the Houthis started taking over, they basically said, hey, we're going to give you so much time to get out of the country, or we're coming in. And I mean, they had 30 or 40 guys there, but it wasn't enough to hold off
the
whole country.
That could have started something terrible too if we did decide
to
hold.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy the decisions that big boys have to make, huh? They're like, well, either we pull out of there or we hold on, and
or we just send the rest of 2-7. Let's do this.
Just send the battalion and say what's up.
Well, all right. Well, hey.
Yeah, pull everybody from every other country that we're in, and let's go to Yemen.
I mean, they honestly could have, though, because we weren't in Iraq at the time.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, we were only in Kuwait, Jordan, and Yemen.
Yeah, I forgot we were in Jordan that first deployment too. Huh.
Yeah, but I'll never forget getting the called in to say that we were going to Iraq.
It's weird how they talk to you. They get serious when it's about Iraq.
Yeah, when it's serious stuff like that, it's like, hey, you guys are going to Iraq. Yeah. I'm like, no, we're not. Like, no.
Nope.
Yeah. Nope. Like, no, seriously, we're going. And that's when I knew it was serious is when they laid out a map of Al-Assad.
Oh, fuck.
I was like, oh shit, okay. Hey, we're going fucking Iraq.
Yeah. It's happening. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any worries and concerns when they told you?
No,
Not at all.
no, not really. I mean, honestly, I just and this
Excited?
might sound like super moto or,
No.
but I mean, I was prepared to not come back. I was like, well, I mean, if we're going to Iraq, let's go ahead and take care of my affairs in the next 48 hours before I leave, and I'm prepared to not come back.
I think you kind of have to have that sort of mentality when you go into an area like that, though.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I think you have to be prepared. Like we'll
Yeah.
get back to your like. So we were in Kuwait, and then word came down that we're starting this operation in Inherent Resolve, um,
Hmm.
and for that we had to go into Iraq because that's when we're starting to support the Iraqi government, and we're starting to do airstrikes, and we're starting to do arty strikes. At least the army was pulling the paladins and starting to do some strikes. Um,
Yeah.
and then they send a decent amount of 2-7 guys to this base in Al Assad, and Al Assad is located where, west of Baghdad, or where is it, south? It's close to Baghdad, isn't it?
Oh,
I don't remember, to be honest.
I don't know.
I don't
All I
blame
know
you. I don't
is
blame you because they just put you
we were
somewhere.
right by the, what was that?
I said I don't blame you because they kind of just fly you out there. They're not like, oh, we're in
Well,
this.
that and they fly you in the dark of night.
Oh yeah, Parker Night.
For the entire first deployment, there was no day flights.
Yeah, well, they did that in TQ too. It wasn't a day flight until
Yeah.
like towards the end of the deployment.
Hmm.
And it was only a general that did that because he wanted to show he had balls of steel or something. Um,
He's an idiot.
yeah, he
Dumb
flew in
dumb.
with like two Black Hawk escorts or something like that. Like,
Of course. Yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
it looked pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah.
daytime, come on, buddy. Um,
Yeah, but all I know is we were right by the Euphrates River,
mhm.
about 20 kilometers south of the town of Al Baghdadi,
Hmm.
or sorry, not Al Baghdadi. That's the bad guy on ISIS, but the town of Baghdadi.
Oh, okay.
We're about 20 kilometers south of that.
Hmm. So when you guys first got there, what were your impressions of that airbase? Did they tell you guys to kind of like, were you guys condition 1 or condition 3? And by condition, there's different conditions of having your weapon, and condition 1 is
Right. So
having
condition
being ready.
4 is no magazine inserted, no round in chamber.
Right. Condition
3 is
magazine
magazine inserted, no round in chamber.
2
And then
doesn't
condition
apply.
1 is
Yeah.
magazine inserted and round in chamber. We were condition 3.
Yeah.
We were condition 3. The only time we went condition 1 is when we went to post.
Oh, really? What about leaving the U.S. compound? Did you guys ever go condition?
Yes.
Okay.
Then we would go condition 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for the fit, and this is what was weird. Well, no, because the 50 cals have condition 2.
Oh,
That's
really?
the only that's the only gun in the Marine Corps that has condition 2, because you got to rack the 50 cal back twice in order for it to shoot. So they would rack it back once.
Oh, have it
That
basically
way,
right
yeah,
there, one
yeah.
rack
So
away. Huh.
yeah, but
Interesting.
yeah, with our M16s or M4s, we would anytime we would leave the compound or go to post, we would be condition 1.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what did the security at the base look like when you guys got there? Was there any incoming alarms? Was there any? I think they're called the C-rams, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah, yeah. The C-rams were the basically the Gatling guns that would try and shoot them down as they would come in, or
Mhm.
they had satellites that would detect them coming in. That honestly, there was nothing of that.
Whoa.
We had, I mean, for the first, I would say, for the entire first deployment, we didn't have any of that. The only way to really tell is if you would have to be very quiet and you'd hear a boom, like
Oh,
off in the
really?
distance, and then you knew something was coming.
Huh. Wow. So was it mostly mortars that they were
No,
hitting you guys
it
with?
was rockets.
Yeah.
Because if they were shooting mortars, I mean, we had a mortar pit built. We could have easily fired back.
Yeah.
But it was mostly rockets that they were shooting from, like,
Far.
10 miles away.
Yeah. Were they? Would you say
Yeah,
that
they
they
would
were
just
accurate?
no,
No.
not at all.
Yeah.
They would, excuse me.
Okay.
We did have one hit in the chow hall.
I saw a picture of that recently.
Um, yeah, before it became the chow hall, it went through the roof and hit
Fucking
there.
stupid.
While we were there, we had one hit inside the compound. But other than that, I mean, they were usually right around the edge of the compound that we were
Oh, okay. So you guys could see him if you were on post. You could see him like impact.
in. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm. Damn. I bet that kind of fucks with you a little bit more, right? Because you don't have a sort of an alarm that gives you a little bit of a heads up.
It does. So I remember the first time that we took IDF, which is indirect fire.
Mm-hmm.
I am passed out in my cot.
Yeah.
And Sergeant Armstrong. Actually, hold on. Let me back up a little bit. I hear one hit, and in my sleepy days, it sounded like thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Because they said that storms were going to be coming in, so I was like, okay, it's just thunder, not a big deal. And then Sergeant Armstrong comes running into this, basically a hangar that 120 to 150 Marines are sleeping in on cots, like 6 inches away from each other. And he's screaming, IDF, 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 hit the ground. And just instinctively, I grab my flak and I roll it over on top of me and I get down on the concrete. And you just hear like 6 more just drop. This boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what in the fuck?
Yeah.
The funny thing is the best way to describe it is if you've watched Avengers Infinity War, whenever Spider-Man slaps his fat friend and he's like, hey, make a distraction. He's like, oh, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt in that moment. I'm like, we're all gonna die.
Yeah. Because you don't know when the next one, where the next one is gonna hit, and you don't know what the fuck is gonna happen.
You don't, and that. So that entire deployment, we actually had to walk around. The only time we got to take our flak jacket and our helmets off is if we were inside a solid building.
Yeah.
If we were outside walking around or going to the head or whatever, the head is, the toilet, any of that, we had to be fully in our flak jacket and our helmet.
Oh, you guys had to have the helmets on too, huh?
What was that?
You guys had to have Kevlars on, huh? Like helmets?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
We didn't have to have our helmets on into Q, but we had to have our gear with us, all the time. All the time.
Yeah, we had to have it on at all times.
Yeah. How would you say that sort of wearing the equipment for that long overseas, kind of yeah. How long do you think? How bad do you think that is for the body?
Oh my god! You're carrying. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but I'm just gonna say it's pretty bad because you're carrying an extra, 70 to 90 pounds of weight on you.
Yeah.
Because your flak jacket with 6 magazines full of ammunition and your rifle and your helmet.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever have to run and all that?
To run?
Yeah. Into a bunker or something? Yeah. And you can just feel it
going.
So
yeah. Yeah, you just feel it just bouncing up and down. It was, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's great for the joints and for all those.
But you know what? I'll admit, those guys in gunfighter or golf, just because we went through all this together. I mean, when we first got there, we had no running water. We were taking water bottle showers if we even wanted to shower. We had no toilets, so I mean, we literally had a bucket that we had to, pour diesel fuel on and burn.
No shit.
Oh yeah, dude.
Fuck.
I'll never forget.
The Wild West.
My second or third day there. It's early morning. I just want to walk out back and go pee. I just woke up, so I walk out the back of the hangar. I see then Captain Flambert just sitting there taking a dump, and I don't know where he got it, but he has a newspaper and he's reading it, and I'm like, I have to be seeing things.
Yeah.
So I stare at him for like a good 5 seconds just to rub my eyes. Like, one, where'd you get a newspaper in the middle of Iraq?
Yeah.
2, why is there no walls on this thing? And he's telling me, he's like, avert your eyes, Bates. I'm like, all right, sir.
Not bad, sir.
Yeah, but it was just just little things like that, and even, dude, and this is before it got super strict. But dude, we used to have campfires every night.
No shit, really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Wow.
we had this little pit that we built, and we just go tear off wood from random stuff, and we'd have campfires at night. We'd all sit around the campfires and just chill.
That's so sick. Smoke cigarettes and chill.
It really was my first deployment when we got to Iraq. It was more like a camping trip than anything.
Wow. What would you say were some of the moments that stood out to you the most while you were over
there? Probably the fires, definitely.
Yeah.
Just having a campfire, and then so they used to do these things, what were called key leader engagement. Okay, where me and the other 2 ROs, because it was me and 2 other ROs that had MRAP licenses.
Yeah.
That was it. And this was before, at first they started making us sign out the MRAPs, until finally they just gave them to us and we could just take them out wherever we wanted.
Yeah.
But we would drive Captain Flambert and some of the lieutenants and staff NCOs down to talk to the Iraqis, about training them and and stuff like that. Well, we weren't officers or higher enlisted, so we had to stay with the trucks.
Right.
But dude, the Iraqi people, especially, I loved going to these things because they bring out a tray of food,
Dude,
and they would feed us while we were there. And dude, the food was, because at that time we were eating nothing but MREs.
Yeah.
So we had nothing but MREs for the past 6 months. So when we got this tray of home cooked bread or homemade rice, dude,
it's so good.
The food was superb.
Yeah, it's better than eating all that processed shit food. It definitely, at least when I got offered food in Kuwait from the Kuwaitis, because they'd see our food and they'd be like, fuck that. Mm-hmm. They'd be like, no. They'd be like, don't eat that, that. We got you. And then they would bring us food. And it's like, fuck yeah, dude. They would take really good care of us. More than our own fucking leadership, which was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
The hospitality is awesome.
And then probably the next memorable moment was Smalls. When so 2 things about him. When me and him were good friends, the entire workup. But when he got to, when he flew into Iraq, I knew he was coming in. And they had me drive a high back, one of the troop carrier Humvees out there. And he gets off the plane, he gets in the back of it, and I get out of the driver's seat. I walk back there and I just scream at him, "Welcome to Iraq, bitch." And he's like, "Bates? What?" But dude, yeah, just welcoming him to Al Assad, and then once they started getting good food into the chow hall, dude, he would tell me, we'd come to the chow hall, I'd be like, "Hey, Bates, tomorrow morning, 08, if you're not doing anything, grab your truck and bring it over. I'll hook you guys up." Dude, I'd bring the high back over, and he'd load it up with Mountain Dews and Pepsis and boxes of chips and just stuff that he wouldn't want all the regimental and the higher ups to have, and he would give it all to us to bring it back over to our little, we called it the gunfighter corral, because it looked like the old Wild Wild West over there, to bring it over there and just share with 2-7. Him just hooking it up with that stuff. Yeah, I would say those are probably the most memorable moments.
Yeah.
It's not the funny thing is when we took over 120 rockets, and I mean, Larson from 81's almost got hit by a rocket because he was driving one of the vehicles
Jeez.
when it hit inside the wire. But yeah, those don't even come on my top 10. Mainly
Yeah.
the good times, man.
It's all the good times that you spent with those people. Yeah, it's always nice
Yeah.
being having those friendships and those connections that can help you out when it comes to, like, this is the way I thought about it. I think you want to be friends with Motor T and fucking Chow Hall dudes, like fucking the guys who are in charge of fucking food. Because I would
Yes.
sometimes hook people up with like better trucks. I'll be like, "Oh, you want this one? Trust me. Like, you don't want that other shit. Like, this one has
Yeah.
AC. Like, I promise this is not a piece of shit." Um, and if you're cool with them, at least whenever I would go recover somebody, I always try to do it with like a sense of urgency, because I know people are always like, "Man, y'all motherfuckers take forever," but it's a whole process.
Yeah.
It's a whole fucking deal that
Right.
you have to go through. You have to get the coordinates. You have to fucking make sure we understand what's going on with the vehicle. That way we know exactly what sort of equipment we need to take out there. And
Exactly. Yeah.
but nobody really thinks about that. People are like, "Oh, these guys are just gonna come out of nowhere and get us out of here." It's like we have to have all kinds of shit ready, and then we have to get approval from fucking Bearmat or from whoever's in charge to
To
allow
actually
you.
get out there.
Yeah, so it's a whole ass process, but I think it's always nice having those sort of connections where people
Yeah.
can try to take care of you.
Yeah. Motor T, Supply, and Chow Hall are should be your three best friends in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, yeah, they should be. You don't want to get fucked. We did something real shitty to one of the officers. We pulled an AC fuse. So we pulled the fuse so the AC doesn't work on the truck.
Wow.
Yep. He was being a real fucking
Probably one of the
dickhead.
trucks I drove.
No, it wasn't yours. I promise. We knew who
Oh,
it was.
okay.
We knew whose truck that was, and we did it because we ended up putting it back, but we let him take it out for a spin a little bit. Because
You have to tell me later what officer that was.
yeah, I'll tell you who it was.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
like fucking, he had it coming.
Oh.
So when when we were coming back home from the first deployment, how would you say that experience was? Like, just coming back to the country.
Sorry, I want to cough in the microphone.
No, you're good. You're good.
So the funny thing is since I feel like they forgot about us in Iraq.
Oh, you guys took forever to come back, right?
Yeah, because they had to do at that time they had an agreement with the Iraqi government that they could only have so many people, so many Americans in the country, and we were at that limit. Like, we couldn't have any more. So the new guys coming in, we had to do a 1-for-1 swap. So if 10 new guys were coming in, then 10 of our guys could leave. And of course, regiment got to go first.
Of course.
So the new regiment came in, the old regiment came out, and here we are still standing post. And like, for instance, DeMoss, I was talking to him when I was still in Iraq before I even got to Kuwait, because we had to be in Kuwait for, it was like a week or two before we got to go back to the States. When I was still in Iraq, he was already in the States for like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember waiting.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was like, man, these guys are still not fucking back yet. Like, God damn.
Yeah. So,
That sucks.
but dude, getting back to U.S. soil was the best feeling. Even just leaving Iraq and getting to Kuwait, and I remember this. The first thing that all of us did as soon as we got back was we got a hot shower.
Yeah, I bet. Especially because you guys
Like,
didn't have running water.
Yeah, they even had signs on the door. It's like, oh, limit your showers to 5 minutes. Nah, dude, I was in there for like 30. Did not care. Like, I am taking the longest. I'm going to use all this hot water because I haven't taken a hot shower in, 8 months.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a hot shower. So yeah, getting to Kuwait and take a hot shower, and then leaving Kuwait and getting back to just U.S. soil, just to be able to sleep in a bed,
Yeah.
in a in an actual bed. That's probably sleeping in an actual bed and eating real food
Yeah.
was probably the two things I miss the most. And it's probably the two things you take for granted the most.
That comfort and that like the fact that it's always there.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, food always here. Shower, water, everything's here. Comfort. And then you go somewhere where that's non-existent. It's like boom.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely definitely those two things.
Yeah.
You know, food and an actual bed is the two things that I was most excited about.
Right. Yeah, that's always one of the nicest things. I was super excited to be back home. It was definitely weird a little bit, just because you're like, okay, I don't have to have all this shit with me anymore. I don't have to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like it.
And
Go ahead.
I actually had, so when I got back from my first deployment, I wasn't married yet. I wasn't seeing anybody, so I really just had no one except for the 2-7 guys. But I had a buddy from a different unit who lived out in town with his wife, and he's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna come pick you up so that way, you know, you have some type of family there. You know, you come stay
That's
with us for
awesome.
the weekend. And dude, like, even though I just showered like 6 hour, like 12 hours prior because the flight is so long,
Yeah.
dude, like I got in his car and he's like, dude, like you stink, like, because he went to Afghanistan twice, so he knew. He's like, dude, you stink like the Middle East.
Yeah.
Shower, and like he wanted to stay up that night, you know, party and drink, and like, hey, you're home, glad to see ya.
Yeah.
I got back, I drank one beer, and I was in bed sleeping by like 8 o'clock, and
Just
I didn't
exhausted.
wake up till like 10 o'clock the next day.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
probably the best sleep I've ever gotten in my entire life.
well, the jet lag, all that shit. It's a fucking long
Oh
ass
yeah.
flight, dude. It's not a fucking. I remember I fucking. That's one thing that I did not really enjoy was those long ass flights. On the way back, it's a little easier to sleep through it because you get fucked up in like Germany or wherever you stop. At least I got
Oh
really
yeah.
drunk in Germany. So.
No, we weren't allowed to drink on our way back.
What?
Not our on the second deployment we weren't allowed to.
Second one we weren't. On the first one we were.
Yeah, because someone screwed it up on the second one.
Yeah, somebody fucked up. I don't remember who, but
Yeah.
you fucking asshole.
I don't remember who either.
Yeah, you motherfucker. It's the best part.
Yeah,
On the way back.
you're allowed 2 beers, and that's enough to get you nice and toasted.
I had more than 2 beers. I remember I was in line in Germany waiting for to go to the bar, and this staff sergeant's next to me, and he's like standing next to the line, and he calls me. I don't even remember. He wasn't even my staff sergeant. It was somebody who was on the flight with us, and he like covers so nobody sees it, and he's like 2, only 2, and I was like, okay. And I look at the lady and I was like, I get 4. I was like, give me 4 beers. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, because you guys that, and even on the first deployment, you guys went somewhere different than we did. Because you guys went to Germany, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, we stopped in Ireland.
That's fucking awesome though.
It was we had a layover in Ireland for a couple of hours.
Right. So like we had our layover in Germany. The airport wasn't anything crazy though. It wasn't like. I think I don't know how the Ireland place was. Like, how was it?
Empty.
Really?
Empty.
Yeah.
We were the only people there.
Same. Yeah, it was the same thing for us. It was just nothing but like a fucking little part of the airport full of Marines. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we were the only people there. They had a class 6, I think is what they call it, where they sell all the tobacco and alcohol and stuff like that, and they had a bar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that we stopped in Ireland, and we were there for 4 to 6 hours ish.
Yeah, you get nice and toasty with those beers, and
oh yeah,
I slept most of the flight back. I fucking missed like the airplane meals like twice. I remember waking up
See,
hungry as
no,
fuck, and I was like, "Hey,
I
do you guys have any more food?" And then the lady's like, "Let me go see," and she brought me one. I was like, "Fuck yes."
see, I told the lady, I was like, Miss, if I'm sleeping, just set food in front of me. Just and then she asked me like, well, what choice do you want? I was like, I don't care. Whatever choices you have, just set food in front of me. When I wake it up, I'll eat it. And she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. So dude, there was times where like I'd be napping like this and I'd wake up and there'd be like a tray of hot food in front of me. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And I'd eat it and I'd go right back to bed.
Yeah, those airplane
Yeah.
meals were actually pretty good, to be honest. I actually enjoyed them. It's
Yeah.
like fuck. Um,
Yeah, I just told her I was like, just set food in front of me. I'll take care of it when I wake
oh
up.
yeah, yeah,
She did too.
yeah. That's fucking. They looked out for sure. They took care of you. I mean, that's basically what they do, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a private airline, right? Is what it is. It's like a government
I
airline.
have
I'm
no
guessing.
idea.
Yeah, because it's like a regular plane, but I don't. I think it's like
Yeah.
specific companies that only fly like service members or something. I don't know. I don't know enough of that. But so you were saying you know we went over the whole TRS thing. Um,
Mhm.
would you say that the unit offered you enough time to prepare yourself to get out?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
What do you think was the big
So
issue with
the
that though?
say again.
What do you think was what was the big issue of them not allowing you the time for that?
They just the comp shop just wanted me to do things basically almost every day until I had TRS.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we'll give you like, and what comes along with TRS is you have to fill out. You have to sign up for a class. You have to fill out 10 different forms and turn those in before you can even go to the class. And you got to do all this stupid stuff,
Mm.
and it's really weird. It's not just sign up for a class and show up. It's you have to do all of this other stuff too. And we weren't allotted time for that. It's like, okay, well, you got to be here at the comp shop. But I was lucky, very, very lucky actually, because Gonzo, Sergeant Gonzalez,
Cool dude.
once, yeah, dude, like once he realized I was signed up for TRS and like I was starting to stress about, getting all this stuff done, he's like, dude, like, just go.
That's awesome.
Like, you're getting out. Like, just, hey, show up in the morning formation, go do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Just go
Yeah.
and show up at the nightly formation, and that's it.
That's cool.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I was very lucky with that. But yeah, I just don't feel like, because, dude, I mean, even during like normal working hours, we'd be at the comm shop, just like what you guys, you guys would be at the motor pool till 10 o'clock at night. We'd be at the comm shop till like 10 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Yeah. Or just
I mean,
waiting,
you guys are
for
probably
word.
actually,
We were waiting for
yeah,
a
you guys
word.
are probably
Either
actually working though.
yeah, either we were waiting for word, or we were setting up everything for like a field op for the next day. Like we'd set up all the
Right.
trucks, get them ready, make sure everybody has their equipment.
Yeah.
We and the
See, that's understandable, but and that's another thing that I think that the Marine Corps could improve on too, is at the final formation when the company commander and the first sergeant give word, like, that should be word. It shouldn't be go back to the comm shop and sit around and wait for a staff sergeant or whatever to tell you what to do. No, like, they told us to go.
Yeah.
Like, that should be it.
Yeah, there was one time where they did the whole thing where the CO releases you, and then they're like, obviously, section discretion, right? And when they say that, you're fucked.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Calm back to the shop. There was this one time where we were working so late on like a 72 that the battalion OOD or whatever, because they tour like the shops and everything too, like after hours. The OOD came to the shop and he was like, "What the fuck are you guys still doing here?" And we're like, "Sir, we're still fucking working. We're still here." And then the officer left, and fucking Gunny Z gets a phone call from the fucking first sergeant. And first
Oh
sergeant,
shit.
yeah, first sergeant's like, what the fuck is going on? Let those fucking Marines go home. Like, it's everybody's off already. And it
Yeah.
still took these motherfuckers like 2 hours to fucking release us. But he ended up calling
Even
again.
after that?
Yeah, he ended up calling again to make sure. And then they let us go after that. But yeah, it got to that point where it was just like, what the fuck, dude? Everybody else is gone. Let him go. Like Jesus Christ, man. It gets to a point where it's so much. I can't tell you how many 72s or 96s were taken away.
Oh yeah.
You know, just all around. I get it. We have to support the battalion, but.
See, I remember one time where we had a battalion formation on top of the parking garage right out the company post, the CP.
Mm-hmm.
And the battalion commander was like, hey, go home, enjoy your weekend. Like, I don't care what your company commanders tell you. I don't care what the heads of your shop tell you.
Sure.
You know, they're not a lieutenant colonel.
Go
home.
Right.
Yeah, if anyone tells you otherwise, come talk to me. And Master Sergeant Smith was like, hey, come here. I just want to, say have a good weekend real quick.
Yeah,
and
right.
He literally is like, hey, back to the shop. And one person turned around and he like just screams, oh, what was that, Master Sergeant? Go back to the comm shop?
No way,
and
really?
Dude, yup. Dude,
No.
battalion commander like marched right over.
No.
Yep.
Whoa, what did the battalion commander say? What did BC say to him?
He looked at all of us. He's like, no, go home. And then he's like, leave. So we left, and they had words afterwards.
Oh, I bet they did. I bet he's like, dude, didn't you just hear what the fuck I said? Because I literally just gave you guys an order to go home. You know?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I'll never forget that too.
It's always nice, huh? It's like dad's taking care of you.
Yeah. Well, that and you get that one belligerent dude. Because honestly, like I would have never thought to scream that, but then you have that one belligerent. He was probably a corporal. I don't even remember who said it.
Yeah.
He said probably some belligerent corporal. They just screamed it.
It's almost like they're fucking asking for it, dude. It's like, what the fuck? Like, we just got told to go home, and then you're just gonna immediately be belligerent or ignore what the fucking battalion commander just said. The fuck?
Yeah, dude. There was multiple times where we would just go like, I mean, and I'm speaking to I'm singing to the choir here because I mean you guys probably spent more time in the shop than we did.
We were there all the time. All the time. I know you guys worked just as hard, but fuck. The amount of time we were in that fucking shop was ridiculous.
Dude, yeah. That's why I was so glad whenever I first hit the fleet in 2-7, I was with the comm shop for about 2 months, and then I got sent to weapons company.
That's lucky.
Well, the way they used to do it is if you were a part of a company, then you show up to that company's formation. Mm-hmm. You do exactly what that company does. You train with that company. You live in that company's barracks. Like, you are now a part of that company.
Yeah.
Dude, being a part of weapons company, the chillest time ever.
Yeah.
Because when they weren't in the field, all the mortarmen were doing training. Mm-hmm. And I would just tell my, not the platoon, but my team leader, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to the comm shop. I'm going to PM our gear. I'll let you know when I'm back. And I would go right back in my room and turn on my Xbox. And
it was funny. That's what Lay was saying, because Lay was just on here. And Lay was saying, he's like, dude, being attached to a line company was the best thing ever. Skate.
Yeah. And then after we got back, after our first deployment, I got attached again to weapons company, but the comm shop did it differently. They're like, if you're attached to a company, when they go to the field, you go with them. but if they're not in the field, you're with the comm shop. I'm like,
Damn.
what?
Yeah. They got you guys afterwards.
Yeah, no, they really did.
Yeah, they
They
smartened
they
up.
knew what we were. They
Yeah.
they knew we were skating, and so yeah, they
So it
got us.
bothered them. They're
Yeah.
like, fuck no. So, let's get to your transition. So, like you said earlier, you were writing, before we started going back to the beginning of your story. Um,
Mhm.
you were beginning to transition, right? And you were living that DD 214 high to like 6 months. You still couldn't find a job. Um, what would you say were some of the more difficult things that you dealt with while getting out of the military?
Dude, so I mean, at this point, I've been married for. I mean, we got married like legitimately the weekend before I left for my second
Mm-hmm.
deployment. So we were married like 9 months at this point.
Right.
And me not being able to provide, sent me into a deep depression. Um, but then also like hurt my marriage.
Right.
Dude, like we were legitimately like on the verge of getting a divorce.
Yeah.
Like, um,
I hear that a lot too.
so yeah,
Yeah.
and luckily if it wasn't, I'm gonna say if it wasn't for her, we probably would be divorced. Because at one point it just got so bad, I literally just signed the papers and I handed them to her, and I was like, here, if you really want this, sign them, and we'll just call it a done deal.
Wow.
And luckily for her, she didn't sign them. She fought for this marriage, and then it ended up working out. Obviously, we're still married.
Yeah.
Actually, next weekend we celebrate our 5th anniversary.
That's awesome. Good for you guys.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so that's one thing I started to see is, not only the transitioning out, not knowing my place, and then, well, not only that, but like in the Marine Corps, you're in charge of, millions of dollars worth of gear. You're in charge of other people's lives. And when you get out, civilians don't even realize that, like, oh, well, you joined the Marine Corps because, you're a flipping retard and you couldn't hack it in the real world.
You
That's
get
the
some of
first.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You get a little
that's
bit of both, I think. You get a little bit of
yeah.
both sides where it's like, oh, some people are like, thank you. Like, holy shit, thank you. And then the other shit where it's like, oh, Marines are retarded. And I've met so many
Yeah.
fucking smart Marines that act dumb, that just that are just kids. That's all it is. But they're fucking smart. Like
Hmm.
really fucking smart, especially on the infantry side. There's a lot of fucking
Oh my.
smart grunts. Like holy shit. There's a lot of dumb ones, but there's a lot of smart grunts. Like holy shit, smart.
Dude, a lot of grunts are smarter than what they lead on.
I
It's
know.
so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so absolutely crazy. But yeah, so getting out and then just not being able to find a job for 6 months, so I'm not being able to provide for the family,
Right.
sends me into a depression, which in turn affects our marriage. We're on the verge of a divorce,
Right.
um, and then it it really didn't. It started to get better. So we lived in California for a good 6 months after me getting out.
Mhm.
And then I was like, hey, I can't find anything out here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to Illinois and see what I can find. If I find a job, you guys come out here. If not, then I'll come back to California after a while.
Right.
Well, she ended up finding a job out in Missouri, which is right next to Illinois,
Mhm.
in St. Louis, which is an hour where I grew up,
Oh no shit.
before I found a job. Yeah.
Wow.
So she found a job in Missouri before I even found a job, and that just made my self-worth go down even more. I
Oh
was like,
man.
great, yeah, here I am. But she ended up not taking that job because she wanted to deploy.
Mm.
and she got a deployment as a civilian contractor. So I told her, I was like, yeah, go for it. I'll be a stay-at-home dad for a little
Heck
while.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So as she was gone, I actually got a job working at Walmart
How was
because she
that?
made enough. I worked in the tire and lube section, so I was just changing tires and changing oil.
Gotcha.
And honestly, it was nice for what it was because she made enough money to pay all the bills. I really didn't need a job, but having something to do during the day instead of just sit around the house and twiddle my thumbs.
What's better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was good for what it was. And then I caught my big break. I would say I call it my big break, but I caught my break. I would say right after she got back from her deployment. So she gets back from her deployment, and I end up getting a call from, and that's another reason why I looked at going back in the Marine Corps active duty.
Right.
It's because that whole, I need to be the head of the household. I need to provide. I need to at least contribute to this family that I now have.
Yeah.
So that's one reason why I was looking at going back in the Marine Corps, and I actually still have my re-enlistment package.
No shit.
The one I was filling out, I still have it it's in one of the boxes somewhere. Because the sergeant who made it up for me, I told her, hey, the recruiting sergeant, I was like, hey, I'm not going to re-enlist. And she's like, well, just in case you do. And she hands me my re-enlistment package. She's like, bring this back to me and we'll submit it.
Wow.
I was like, shit, okay. So I actually have it in a drawer somewhere around the house.
It's the just in case package.
Yeah. But that was one of the main reasons why I was going to go back in the Marine Corps, was just to be somewhat of a provider.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you left the Marine Corps you lost, not necessarily lost, but did you feel like you lose some sort of version of yourself a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because being in the Marine Corps and being around Marines or around your friends, your close-knit friends who literally like you live next to and you fight with and you cry with and you sweat and bleed together for 4 years, then all of a sudden, you're peacing out and you're dipping out. You can't go back to your hometown and expect to pick up where your old friends, you and your old friends left off, because you're a different version of yourself. They're a different version of themselves. And yeah, when you leave the Marine Corps, you leave a piece of yourself in the Marine Corps, I should say.
Yeah. With like your peers, I think.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they sort of make each other like who you are. Being around all that, you guys all influence each other, and I think that's something like Lay was talking about. One of the things that he misses is just being able to go down the hall and knock on a door, and you can fucking just shoot the shit with somebody, drink a beer, smoke a cigarette, in the smoke pit while you're bullshitting, bitching about whatever's gonna come up next week. And man, there's just something about that. Even just being out in the field sometimes, like at night, and you're just chilling out there on your cot or on the ground and just fucking looking up into the fucking sky. It's quiet, desert quiet. Just there's something weirdly peaceful about it. It's
like, do I miss the Marine Corps? Yes and no.
Yeah.
I don't miss the bureaucracy of the Marine Corps, or the way it's run, I guess, for better terms. But I definitely miss the boys.
Yeah, that's the big part.
I mean, just like Lay said, being able to just, like, what we used to have, porch parties. Literally wheeling a cooler outside your door and there's already like 10 dudes out there with coolers sitting there just drinking beer and just shooting the shit. Just having that, like your best friends within like 100 feet radius of you is
Yeah.
just something that you'll never get again.
No, it was kind of like that
And
community of the people that you want to be around with.
exactly. I mean, unless you buy 100 acres and start a commune, but yeah,
That'd be fucking cool. That'd be weird, but it'd be cool.
then you have another Waco, Texas on your hands.
Yeah, it'd definitely be because I don't know, man. It's a strange thing. It's a strange sort of environment that you're
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by, and then you get out, and then it's like, huh, well, because nobody, you know, you're not judged when you're around your boys, and you could literally say anything, and it's
Yeah, you
like,
could say and do anything, but
yeah,
like you start to have that in the civilian world or around people who haven't been in the military, and they're like, what in the fuck is wrong with you?
yeah, yeah,
So I would say that was probably the biggest savior for me and my sanity is I surrounded whenever I got out, I didn't have that group of friends anymore that I had in the Marine Corps. So that's one of the reasons why I joined the reserves. I was like, well, they have somewhat of the same mentality that I do.
right,
I mean, obviously they're reservists, so they don't have the active duty mentality. But I mean, dude, they still have that dark sense of humor that the Marines do. I mean, they're still, pretty decent human beings, and they're just good people to be around.
yeah,
Um, and also surrounding myself with just other veterans. That was huge. Surrounding yourself around other veterans is one thing that's going to save your sanity when you get out of the military.
yeah,
Whether it be, I mean, freaking Vietnam vets or Korean vets, I mean, or even Afghanistan vets, just surrounding yourself with other veterans
will help,
will
yeah.
definitely help you
I've
out.
I've
And
also I've also heard that from some people that it's still not the same, and I understand
it's
that too. You know,
it's not.
yeah,
I mean,
because it's not suffering bonding. It's just you guys can understand each other a little bit better though.
right.
Yeah, and I think that's what
And
makes it better than just regular civilian friends.
oh, I absolutely. Yeah, the understand the level of understanding is much higher between veteran friends than it is with just civilian friends. I mean, you can still say whatever you want, and they're not going to judge you because I mean they're going to say whatever they want too.
Yeah.
But another thing too was, dude, like, so I got a decent paying job in St. Louis, but it didn't offer. I mean, it was enough to provide for us,
Mm.
and it wasn't didn't offer health insurance, so that was the bad thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I was starting to climb the ladder, and that's one thing that I guess that two things that really helped me push forward that I owe all of my success and all of my um, stuff to is my wife and freaking Jesus Christ, dude. Like I in St. Louis while she was gone on her deployment, me and Koa, my son, lived in St. Louis. We got into a church, and dude, just one of the elders there was a former Navy vet, and he was like a father figure to me, and like a kind of took me under his wing and started teaching me these things, and that's two things that saved my sanity and kind of helped push me through. And if it wasn't for my wife's support, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. Just because she went from California to St. Louis,
Yeah.
and then we were in St. Louis, and then I got a job offer up in upstate New York
Whoa.
by by Rochester, New York. So I mean, we literally packed up everything we had and we drove up to New York,
Dang.
and we started living and working out there. And then all of a sudden, I get a job offer out in Arizona, where I'm at now. So we packed up our life again and just came out to Arizona.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for her support, I wouldn't be anywhere where I'm at right now. That's for sure.
That's fucking awesome that she's got your back when it comes to that, because
Dude,
it's asking for a lot, moving, relocating, especially with a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's one thing I absolutely love about her is, dude, she's straight up ride or die, bad boys for life.
That's fucking awesome.
And yeah, like you just when we were living in St. Louis, I sat her down. I was like, well, I got this job offer in New York, or I can take a civilian deployment and make about the same amount of money. And she's like, do whatever you feel is right.
Man, that's cool.
I was like, okay. I was like, well, if we go to New York, we're gonna pick up and move like in a week. She's like, okay.
Damn.
Yeah. And then the same thing for coming out here is I was out here working for my job that I had in New York when I got the job offer.
Oh, no shit.
And I called her. I was like, babe, I got a job offer for Arizona. And she's like, okay. She's like, I'll start packing up the house.
Damn.
Like just no hesitation. Not,
that's awesome.
didn't ask, hey, what's the benefits or whatever. She's like, all right, I'll start packing up the house. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's more affordable than New York.
Oh, yeah, hands down more affordable. But yeah, so, and whenever I was at my lowest point, she knew it, and she was able to. This is whenever we lived up in New York.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a full-time job with benefits, and we were still like at one point we had to go to a freaking food bank just to get enough food to last us the week.
Yeah.
Like if I wouldn't have gone to the food bank, then we wouldn't have eaten for a week because we had no money. We had nothing.
Fuck.
And so having a full-time job and her going to school and making money off the GI Bill and still not having enough money to feed my family for a week, dude, like that hits you hard.
Yeah.
I think that's when I hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And she knew it, and she really pushed me to go to the VA to see a counselor, and I was very apprehensive because I've heard a lot of bad things about the VA.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still experiencing bad things with the VA right now.
Right.
But I will say the counselor I got hooked up with in New York was absolutely phenomenal. But just her pushing me to go and making sure I went and all of that was huge. I think the reason why it's been so easy for her to be like a ride or die, bad boys for life kind of wife was just because she was in the Air National Guard.
Yeah.
And I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but she was on active duty orders from the time she enlisted till the time we got married.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so yeah, she was on doing active duty. So she was working Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 or whatever shift she was on, so she had that veteran lifestyle, just didn't deploy.
Yeah. Still a better understanding than somebody who was never in.
Exactly. And I think that's what's so hard about, and that's what I think that's what made it so easy for the two of us is, with her being in as well and understanding kind of what I'm going through,
mm-hmm.
or shit like that, and just being able to help out has been a huge blessing.
Yeah, that's awesome that you have somebody that you can relate to and that can understand you and support you at all costs, dude. That's fucking That's great. Did you end up reaching out to any of friends when you were going through those dark moments, or when you were at your lowest point? And if not, why? Why not?
So I'm trying to remember. Honestly, I was drunk for most of it, man. I want to say yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I did, and I know I did because that was not too long after Reed Holzhauser.
Yeah. How would you say that that
Um,
whole uh, incident with Holhauser affected you and
so in the Marine Corps, we were not extremely close, or we weren't very close. Not like him and Frank or him and Trey.
yeah.
Um, when we were in what was that stupid field op in
Which one?
Yuma?
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
The
the
proving
stupid
grounds?
field op in, huh?
In the proving grounds? In the Army proving
Yes,
grounds? That shit
yeah.
sucked.
Uh, whenever we were there, that's whenever I found out that me and him grew up 7 miles apart.
No fucking way, really?
Yep.
Wow.
I grew up in Litchfield, Illinois, and he grew up in Hillsboro, Illinois, which are our rival high schools.
That's hilarious.
So I learned there that we grew up 7 miles. We were born and raised 7 miles apart.
Wow.
Um, so I told him, I was like, dude, like whenever I get out, because there's this real famous place. It's famous in the county, I should say,
Sure.
called Park and Eat, but we always call it Park and Puke. You can buy a bag of hamburgers, is basically legitimately a bag of burgers is what you call it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, dude, I'll bring a 6-pack of beers. We'll grab we'll grab a bag of burgers, and we'll hang out as soon as I get out. I'll come and see you. And we'll da da da.
Yeah.
I remember driving from California back to Illinois, and excuse me, right when I hit the Illinois border, so I crossed in from Missouri to Illinois. I tried calling him. He didn't answer. I was like, okay, well, whatever. He's busy. I actually got home that night to see, and my parents were up waiting for me. I was staying with them at the time. I'm sitting there scrolling through Instagram, and I just see like Trey's post of rest in peace. I see Coyle's post of you will be missed. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's Reed. So I reached out to Coyle, and I was like, dude, like, what's all this shit? And you're like, dude, have you not heard he committed suicide a couple nights ago? And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things I talked about in my when I was going through my counselor. But it took me 4 days to drive home, and I thought about the entire time of reaching out to him. But I was like, no, I'll wait till I get to Illinois to surprise him. If I would have reached out to him when I started driving home, then I could actually talk to him, maybe found out what's going on. But I still doubt that I would have, because yeah. But that one, I would say because of that, that's what made me to reach out to other people when I was going through these dark times.
Yeah.
Because when I went to his wake, I'm actually standing in line, and I'm standing in line to see a brother of mine, be buried, to say condolences to his family and to let him know, like, hey, I served in the Marine Corps with, your son was a fucking stand-up dude. I look up and I see Rhino from 2-7, Rhynearson, and I see Fries. And dude, like, I just walk over and I'm like I thought it was Fries. I'm like, Fries? Rhino? And they turned and looked at me, and dude, like, it was immediately like, brothers seeing each other after,
Fuck.
10 years apart, just hugs and kisses and crying and all that stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Trey came in the next day. Trey couldn't make it to the wake, but Trey came in the next day, And yeah, it was just seeing that happen to someone who I thought it would never happen to. Because, dude, even though he hated the Marine Corps more than anyone I ever know, he was humorous about it. I mean,
Yeah.
he kept this damn notebook on literally called "Reasons Why I'm Not Reenlisting." And anytime something stupid would happen, he'd pull it out, he'd
Really?
write it down, oh yeah, and he'd put it back in his pocket. Yeah. I mean, just for someone who was always, like cheering up everybody else and always was like, I don't want to say the center of attention, but
It was the
other people
life
fed
of
off
the
his
party,
energy.
we'll say.
Yeah. Well, we fed off his positive energy.
Yeah.
Like we could all be out in, Yuma at the proving grounds and sucking life, but he's out there with Franco trying to catch a mouse. Yeah. So that was unexpected, and because of that, it was very, very made me never to always want to reach out to someone.
Yeah.
So yeah, during those dark times, yeah, I even though I was, I mean, probably drunk for those, or even angry, or whatever the case was, I still made sure to try and reach out to someone, or even if it was just reaching out to the counselor I was seeing the next day, like, hey, I know we don't have a session, but I got to talk for like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say that reaching out and talking to people when you're feeling, when you're in those emotions, dude, would you say that helped you out, and would you recommend it for people?
Absolutely. If you're in contact with, especially someone that you served with, so like I'm in a group chat with Dustin Gashler, William Van Cleve, Tom Watson.
We have our own thing too.
Yeah, just a bunch of us, and even just having that group chat to where we're just talking smack to each other, and just whatever, that just, even if I'm just down and depressed, or down and sad about something, or I'm just having a bad day, whether it be work related, or whatever the case is, just having that outlet is something worth having. Just having that outlet of your friends that you were close with, that you served with, is definitely a lifeline worth having.
Yeah, definitely. Would you say, have you had anybody reach out to you for any of anything that they were dealing with?
Yeah, I've had one. One of the kids, I call him, he was a kid, but whenever I was in my reserve unit, one of my wiremen, he was a corporal or lance corporal, I don't remember his rank, but he just called me one night freaking out. He called me one night and he's like, hey, I just lost my job, I have no way to pay rent. He's like, and I don't want to put his name on blast or anything, but he was just very very distraught, and I'm talking him down, and he brings up the idea. He's like, I don't even know why I'm here. I'm just gonna go ahead and kill myself. And as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, fuck no. So I literally take my wife's phone. I start dialing numbers of people who I know, because I was living in New York at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I started dialing numbers of guys who were in the reserve unit who lived close to him. I'm like, dude, get your ass over to this dude's house right now. And Sergeant Goodpaster, a friend of mine, was actually, I believe he was on a date, and literally left his date to go to this kid's house. But yeah, so I have had one person reach out, and just, even though I couldn't do anything physically,
yeah,
I had to make sure someone was there for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I feel like if I don't want to say if more people would reach out, because I mean even if more people reached out, sometimes signs aren't heard. You know what I mean?
No, they're not heard, and the military doesn't encourage any of that. I mean, they say they do, but they don't.
No, they
It's
don't.
frowned upon. It's all.
Yeah,
It's all.
yeah, you get called a little bitch, or
Yeah, get over it. Nobody cares.
you know, yeah, you're a Marine. You're supposed to be mentally tough, and
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's stupid stuff like that. Yeah, they don't teach you how to deal with the mental preparations, even while you're in the Marine Corps. Not only after you get out, but while you're in the Marine Corps, they don't teach you how to deal with it at all.
No.
And then if you're seen going to the chaplain or going to the FRO, which is the Family Readiness Officer, like you get poked fun at.
Oh, definitely. Even if you go
Yeah.
to even if you go to the doctor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Even if you go to the doctor. And I understand it's all between fucking males, warriors, talking shit, but it's like, at the end of the day, when you're getting out, it doesn't help you because you're set in your ways and you got that mental attitude of like, I don't need to go to the fucking doctor. Like, I'm fucking good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so they. Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to.
It's kind of toxic.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, would I change my Marine Corps experience for anything else? Absolutely not.
Right.
Would I do it all over again? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's just it is toxic, and they just they don't set you up for success. Let's just put it that way.
No, definitely not. And I can understand they could just say that that's not their job or whatever, but it's like you do such a good job at trying to prepare them for something else when it comes to them being in, and you say how much you care about your Marines, and you say how much you, I fucking love you, you understand me, you know?
Yeah.
And then you get out, or you're about to get out, and they're like, oh, fuck you, because you're about to get out.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, fuck you. You're about to get out.
Piece of shit.
You're a quitter. You're a weak ass bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Shitbag. Yeah.
It's like, no, you're proving my point why I'm getting out.
Yeah, you're literally showing me even more. You're back. And then I'll be like, yeah, this is why. This is one of the reasons. And sure, you can have your pros and cons and a lot of good things, but man, the list of bad is fucking... It's a long one.
Yeah. That's probably the only time that the bad will outweigh the good in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you're always gonna remember the good times over the bad times, but when times to come to re-enlist,
it's like
you're gonna remember all those bad times real quick,
real fast. You're like, damn, that list. It's like watching credits, dude. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So, one more thing here. If any, even active duty or veteran, was potentially facing any sort of struggles that resembled yours, what would be some few things that you recommend that helped you? Obviously, go see a counselor, right? That helped you out, as intimidating or as uncomfortable as that may be initially.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, definitely seeing a counselor. I mean, you could be mentally the strongest person in the world, but you know what? Behind closed doors, when it's just you and them, and you start breaking down and crying.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Like the first, so definitely number one, counselor. Because I didn't even think I needed to see a counselor, and so the way the VA does it is you see a social worker first, and then they recommend what you need to do from there.
So, another question for you on that. Sorry, I know you were going somewhere, but if you do go see a counselor, or a social worker, right, and they do decide that you do need help, right? Do they add this to like your disability, or like how does that work? Do they not add it, but they give you help?
They can do both. So there's two ways of doing it. That at first, if you see a counselor, they don't add it to your disability. You
Right.
actually have to file for a compensation and pension claim, and then they can. But I mean, to be honest with you, the funny thing is like, they seeing a counselor, especially. So like for me, I when I seen a counselor, they use PTSD as a blanket term.
They do. That's a big
That
problem.
they really do.
They do.
Like the mental health associate or whatever you want, the mental health doctor, he diagnosed him with PTSD. He's like, yes, you have PTSD. I'm like,
It's not
okay,
PTSD.
like
It's something else.
right. I was like, I have anxiety, I have other stuff, but I don't think I have PTSD. He's like, no, you have PTSD. And so like they use it as a blanket term. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't have near the mental health stuff like as a Vietnam or Korean vet or and any other vet had that actually seen combat or did shit. I
Right.
didn't do nothing. Um,
You did something.
but they
Don't
just
discredit yourself. You did something.
they use it as a blanket term. So in they'll you file a comp and pen claim, and then you say that you want all your records released to the compensation and pension review board, and they'll look through all your mental health history. They'll look through all the doctor's notes, and they'll that's when they'll give you a disability for it.
Wow. Okay.
But it is two separate things.
Right. I was just curious as to how that worked because I've been thinking about seeing somebody just because
Mm-hmm.
when I first got out, they did have me talk to somebody and it fucking started feeling really vulnerable and I didn't really like it because I started getting emotional real quick. And I was like,
Dude,
I don't know if I like this feeling. So then I just kind of backed up. Um,
and
Go ahead.
so one thing I'm gonna say to you is okay, say you go to the gym and you're working out, right? I don't work out anymore. I'm fat. But you go to the gym and you work out, and your muscles are sore.
Yeah.
Okay. And you start massaging those muscles. It doesn't feel good at first, does it?
No.
But if you keep going, it's gonna help, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that how
That's
it
the
is?
way my counselor explained it to me. And she was absolutely right. So I seen the social worker first, and the social worker. The funny thing is she's just like, oh yeah, tell me about your experience, and I'm just like, oh well, yeah, this, and this, and I'm fine. She's like, oh well, tell me about right whenever you got out, how was it? And I was like, oh yeah, da da da, and like I just I just like said one thing, and like she caught on to it, and she freaking drilled in like a hammer, but she did it in a nice way. She was
She's like,
very
let's
smart and
open
calculated
this
with it.
book up. Yeah.
Exactly. She was very smart and calculated with it. She's like, oh, well, yeah, well, you said something about this. I mean, it wasn't like tell me about this more. How'd that make you feel? Like she was asking like probing questions.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I got tears running down my face, and she's handing me tissues, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to recommend you see a counselor.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're
So,
good, huh? They're good. Yeah.
and then, yeah, so whenever I first got situated with my counselor, it was just like you. It was very vulnerable and very awkward.
Yeah.
She had me doing like homework. She's like, hey, when you start to feel down or feel depressed or when you start to feel a certain way, I want you to write it down on this sheet. What you were doing, what you were thinking about, why it came up, and write down your feelings and thoughts.
Oof.
I'm like, man, that's
Right.
stupid.
That's what I'm saying.
But you know what? And looking back on it, everything went full circle. So it started by writing everything down, and then she had me continue to write that stuff down, but then she would give me like mitigating tasks, like, okay, well, here's how you can get rid of it. Here you can try this, and it literally just brought it into a full circle. And then I didn't understand what the hell was going on until about like 3/4 of the way through our sessions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, like I get it now.
Yeah.
I fucking understand, because basically, and I'm gonna say this, like, you have to find a good counselor.
Yeah,
You really do.
that's important.
Some are absolutely garbage. Some are
But
absolute garbage, man.
but if you've
But
never seen one, how is it that you know if you have a good one? You know, like, is it just because they're obviously gonna talk to you different than any other human being has spoken with you?
if
100%, right?
so, yeah, absolutely. In my opinion, a good one is one that's not afraid to just pry the wound open. So
Oof, that's
whatever's
scary.
hurting, if they're not afraid to pry that wound open, and then also one who doesn't recommend medication.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah,
If you were seeing a counselor like, oh well, we're gonna put you on antidepressants, nope, get out of there,
yeah.
just done. Because the first counselor I seen tried to put me on antidepressants. And I was like, okay, cool. I got him,
I
took
heard
him
they're
for like a week. I was
terrible.
like, I don't feel any different, so I threw him in the trash. And like the next one I seen, which was the good one, she's like, yeah, you don't fix it by
Throwing
taking
fucking
antidepressants
pills.
is putting a band-aid on a bullet wound.
Yeah,
So yeah, basically over the next 13 weeks, we're gonna untrain your mind to think,
that's awesome.
raw, yeah, rah rah, kill kill, and to
Be normal.
be a be a functioning human being.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I mean,
That's
there's and to be honest with you, it's a never-ending journey.
oh, definitely.
So and I'm starting to learn this. I'm learning this more and more. So and when I say a never-ending journey, uh, in 2017
Hmm.
was whenever I started seeing my counselor up in New York. I seen her for I think like 6 months, and then she's like, "Hey, I think we're good to stop having sessions." She's like, "I'm always here by phone. I'm always here if you need to have more sessions, but I think you're in a good spot." She's like, "But don't be afraid to reach out if
That's awesome.
something happens."
Yeah,
And life was going great for the next, I'd say, year, and then I just started seeing the counselor again recently.
yeah. It comes in
So it's
waves. It comes in waves. It does. It never. For me, I think what I think is, it never gets as bad as it was initially. I don't think it ever gets as bad as
yes,
it was.
no,
Yeah, it gets
no,
like little. You get little waves of it, um,
right,
but it's never as dark and as bad as it was when you first get out.
yeah,
That's the
I,
biggest culture shock.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for someone transitioning that has similar experiences to mine, counselor is number one, because if if you can't, I'm not gonna say if you can't fix yourself, because there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
Um, if you can't better yourself, then you can, like say you're married and have a kid. If you can't better yourself, you can't better your spouse. You can't better your child. If
Yeah.
you can't better yourself, you can't better the people around you. You have to better yourself first.
Y-
The only thing that's not taking care of it or pushing it down is only going to hinder you.
Yeah.
I mean, just for instance, like just seeing the when I went to go see the counselor in New York, not only did I see um, jumps in my marriage, like how much better that improved, how much better my job performance improved. Like it's just once yourself starts to get um, once you start to better
Humanized.
yourself, then you start to once you build yourself up and better yourself, you start to build up the people around you. It's
Yeah.
that simple.
Like the guest of episode 20, he said, um, you have to learn how to take care of yourself first. You have to
Exactly.
learn to take care of before you. It's great to help people. It's great, but
Mm-hmm.
you and we're all like the way he described it was super like, oh, he was like we're all when you enlist, you're like a guardian. He's like you're here to
Yeah.
help other people and defend people, right? But when you get out, you still try to keep that mentality, but you don't take care of yourself.
Right.
And it's important to make sure that you fucking take care of yourself first because
Yeah.
nobody else is gonna do it for you. Nobody will do it for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
seeing counselor, um, what else would you say aided you with your whole transition and
so one thing that aided me was, I mean, I was already a Christian before I joined the Marine Corps.
hmm
And for people who are Christians, definitely, start reading your Bible, dude.
yeah.
Like, even if you're not a Christian and you want to learn more about it, then just ask somebody, reach out to it. And because that's one thing is that's helped me is, because like I said, I was a Christian before the Marine Corps.
hmm
But then like just solidifying my roots into that and having that not only be the basis of, how I live my life, but, how I conduct myself,
mm
is really huge. And I mean, there are things that I can only explain through because it was a gift from God, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um, like for instance, like whenever I told you I had to go to the food bank to feed my family,
Yeah.
they didn't ask for us, what my income was. They didn't ask for anything. It was just, hey, who lives in your household? Okay, here's what you get.
Yeah. Here's some food.
And because technically, if they would have looked at my income, I didn't qualify
Wow.
because we made
Because you were
just above
making
that poverty
yeah.
line to where,
Yeah.
yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking
Um,
insane.
or like whenever I got the job to come out here, we we didn't have the funds to bring us out here, so I applied for a personal loan of $5,000 just to get us out here. I was denied for that. I was like, well, shit. So I was like, okay, well, I literally got a letter in the mail from Navy Fed. Hey, you're pre-approved for a Navy Fed cashback rewards card. I was like, Navy Fed just denied me for a personal loan. They're not gonna give me a credit card, so I tried it anyway. Lo and behold,
Boom.
I yeah, I was able to get the credit card with enough with a high enough limit to where
Yeah.
not only that we were driving from New York out to Arizona and it was going to cover everything, but we could do it leisurely and make a vacation out of it.
That's awesome.
So like, yeah, it's just things like that. I mean, just this, I got the job out here, and this past year, I think we've paid off like so 2020
hmm
has been rough on everybody, but I
Sure.
mean, shoot, we bought a house,
Yeah.
we paid off like $15,000 to $20,000, I think, in debt
Awesome.
by the end of 2021. Other than our house and our two cars, we'll be 100% debt free.
Fucking awesome.
Um, yeah, so it's just So
It's getting
counselor,
better, man. It's getting better.
uh, yeah, it is. And then another huge one that's been helpful for me is having the friends from the Marine Corps and my spouse. You know, I already said enough about my spouse. How she's a ride or die, and she's
Yeah.
been here
Yeah.
uh,
Keep in
through
touch
thick
with
and
your
thin.
with your buddies. I think that's important. Keeping in touch with them. Seek a counselor
Absolutely.
if you need to. And the one that's always said, don't be concerned about reaching out. You're not bothering
Dude,
anybody.
yeah. Well, that and find a hobby.
Yeah. Stay busy.
Like find something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Find something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Like or find a side hustle.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're gonna be out, do something like me. I go golfing all the time
Awesome.
just because I like being out in nature, and I love swinging the stick. So you know what?
Fuck
Do
it.
it.
Why not?
Yeah, find a hobby. Just keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
Don't because the more busy you are doing things that you enjoy and that you love, the less time you're gonna have to be able to sink in your thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's what freaking kills people, man. Is they get alone, they don't reach out, they don't call people, they don't do something that they love. They just want to sit there and drink and just sit there in their thoughts, and that's what really sends people to a downward spiral. But So yeah, keep yourself busy. See a counselor. You know, it really is a never-ending battle.
Yeah.
But it's one that you can easily win.
It gets better. For
Yeah.
everybody out there, it gets better. As hard as it may be sometimes,
Absolutely.
it definitely gets better. But just remember, take care of yourself because nobody will do it for you.
Yeah.
And asking for help isn't anything that anybody should be ashamed about.
Yeah, and even okay, so and another thing too is anyone who's watching this who has been out of the military for a year or less, dude, you can call what's called Military One Source, and you get 7 free counseling sessions.
It's awesome.
Like legitimately, like you don't have to call the VA, you don't have to worry about them, and they're completely anonymous. There's no medical record of it, no nothing.
Military One Source.
And yeah, Military One Source, and because me and my wife used that quite a bit whenever I first got out, and then whenever she got out.
No shit.
Like you get 7. So even if you're married, you get 7 individual, you get 7 married ones,
Wow.
and then yeah, it's great. It's free. All you gotta do is call them. They get your DOD ID number. Your whenever you got out. If it's been a year or less, then you have 7 free sessions.
Man, that's cool.
Take advantage of it. Even if you've been out for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah,
do it.
Not? Yeah, you might get something out of it even if you don't think you're dealing with anything.
You know? Exactly.
Yeah. Well, man.
Yeah, Military One Source is a good option.
Yeah. I'll definitely throw that on the description. Well, man, I want to say thank you for coming on here and for sharing
Absolutely,
your experience. Man. I had a good time. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And
oh, dude, yeah, I did.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have any last few words that you want to say before we shut her down here.
I mean, I'm gonna give you my email.
Yeah.
Put that in the description too. And if anyone has any more questions or just needs, help dealing with the VA or Military One Source or transitioning or seeing a counselor or just has any more questions about any of that we didn't dive into, feel 100% free to shoot me an email. And then, we can definitely talk further.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'll give you that, and I'm open for questions, to anyone who might have some.
Cool, man. You guys heard him. The email will be in the description. I have a lot of shit in the description, but I'll try to highlight that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like everything else, like it, share it, subscribe. Let's get this thing out there. Hopefully we can help more people out there. Yeah, well, I'll try my best to keep this going. But thanks again for coming on, brother. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Rubio. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right, later, guys.